Ahoy there, everybody.
Yar.
Welcome back to the Avast Marauders podcast. Or should I say, howdy, partners.
Look at him.
No, this is a pirate outfit. I don't care what you say.
Oh, yeah.
It's something.
Pirates of the desert.
Pirates and cowboys, I mean,
What's the difference?
What's the difference? One of them's on the water. That's it.
That's literally, that's true.
Ahoy and yeehaw.
I've had this discussion at great length before.
Oh, yeah. So, how are you two doing?
All right.
Yar.
Pretty good?
All
I'm
right.
good. I'm fine.
Matt showed up with I was saying before, we'll get our guest here in a second. I know he's waiting patiently backstage, even though everyone knows who it is. But anyways, Matt is so good at a closet costume. Like, I'll be like, oh, can you like dress up as a pirate in an hour? I'll see what I can do. And then he shows up as that, and all of a sudden I'm dressed as a cowboy. But
this is my mom's scarf and makeup pen drawing a couple of. Actually, this is my dad's.
It's good.
Vest from 1972.
It looks like it's from 1972.
It's so 1972. It's so good.
Well, let's have a specific year to it. Go ahead.
Let's get our guest in here. Let's get a very piratey person in here.
Yar.
Kyle Katarn, welcome back to the show.
Hello there. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back.
Am I a piratey person? I suppose so.
Captain Redbeard.
I'll take it.
I mean, I gotta say, like, once the pictures of Crimson Jack just started getting posted everywhere, AJ looks over at me and he's like, "Is that Kyle?" So I mean, like, so.
Oh, why are you not
maybe.
the first person to say that to me this week?
Oh, yeah. I almost tweeted
This is actually who you are. No.
No, I was.
Yeah.
There was a discussion on Discord about whether or not I need to do Crimson Jack for Celebration Japan now as a cosplay.
I'd be
you
disappointed if you didn't.
I think it's time to go to the gym. Is the answer? There.
Okay, but you got to grow out a mullet too. Got to grow out that luscious hair.
Well, I mean, how do you grow out a sweet mutton chops without a cover beard? You know, all you got to do is take out the chin and boom.
Oh, let me tell you. I can tell you exactly that. Anybody who's watched our podcast from 2020 knows I actually can't grow hair down here. So I just grow mutton chops.
Oh yeah.
Nothing wrong
I
with
can't
mutton
grow
chops,
beard. I
man.
can't grow
Nothing wrong
cover
with
beard.
mutton chops.
Very piratey.
Yeah. Honestly, I shouldn't have shaved.
But yeah,
Actually, who am I kidding? I haven't shaved in a week.
Good start, guys.
we Matt, once again, Mr. Pirate over here.
Yar.
You're taking over our, just like a pirate would, our question of the week segment.
That's right.
What'd you cook up for us today in the galley?
All right. This is my question. You find a treasure map and you follow the treasure map to X marks the spot. What is the treasure you find at X marks the spot? What is the treasure you want to find at X marks the spot?
You're good at this.
Are we
what
talking,
Star
like,
Wars treasure?
In Star Wars?
Yeah. What Star Wars thing do you want to find buried in the sand?
Got it. Okay. I'm thinking.
Kyle, you wanna kick this one off?
And I'm myself. I'm the real me IRL.
You're Crimson Jack.
Yes.
You can be
I
Crimson
want?
Jack. You can be
Okay,
whoever
if I
you
was-
want.
Okay. Let me think.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Go on.
This is a stumper. Even I can't think of an answer.
So
I'm
this
trying.
treasure is buried, right? Of course.
Yeah.
That's a silly question. Okay.
I mean, but it doesn't have to be. Like, it can be whatever
I've
you
got
want.
one.
Okay.
This is stupid.
Just say it.
A box of the cereal that Cyril Karn was eating in Andor.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know why that was number one.
It's a cultured answer.
That is a cultured answer. I feel like, I guess Captain Crunch is the closest, but why hasn't a cereal ever leaned into the whole, like, oh, we found it buried in a treasure chest, like, angle? That feels like marketing gold.
Well, is that like a Captain Crunch thing or no?
I
was
mean,
about
Captain Crunch is kind
was
of
immediately to my mind as well.
Yeah.
I feel like
they
that
did
might-
They should have.
probably is a part of the Captain Crunch marketing at some point in time. Like, they open the treasure chest and there it is. That was
Right.
definitely part of the Lucky Charms marketing campaign.
Because that's
yeah,
that's in my mind. So
kind of.
I don't know.
Except that
I
was a
played
pod.
the Captain Crunch PC game. The CD-ROM came in the box. This is we're talking like 2000, 2001,
Hell yeah.
2002 maybe.
Yeah.
It's a side scroller, and you like. It turns out that like the crunch is mined in these mines by like these creatures, and you have to free them, and it's pretty intense.
Are you kidding? Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Captain
remember
Crunch
being-
lore.
Yeah, there's Captain Crunch lore out there,
Crunch
and it's not. It's pretty dark,
CD-ROM
pretty grim.
game. I remember. I played that game.
In the
Okay.
grim darkness of the future, there is only crunch.
Wow.
Oh,
So
yeah,
what-
look at this.
When I want to find a treasure map in Star Wars, Yeah, and what I want to find in the desert. Not the desert, but what X marks the spot.
Wherever.
Hmm.
You thought desert because I was dressed as a.
No,
Yeah,
Cowboy.
you said treasure map in my.
that's it.
This
That's
is-
the game. That's the game.
All right, anyways,
Yarr.
Yeah, that's the game.
that's included in what I'm
is.
finding buried, by the way.
That's
Yeah,
what my
okay.
dream was. And you were there. And you were there. I always
Okay,
sound a
I-
little feverish explaining that to people because like no one ever played that game.
Oh, please.
Okay.
I mean, I probably never played it, but I know exactly those like serial PC games. All of them.
Oh yeah.
It was an era. It was an era for sure.
It was. All right, Jamie,
had
what
a-
do you got?
So
Had a
this
Taco
isn't
Bell
something
floppy disk.
I don't really necessarily know what I would want to find, but I feel like if I had a treasure map in Star Wars and I was following it somewhere, and I probably would have gotten duped because whatever, it's just like who knows what it's actually going to be.
Some
I
stuff.
feel like the treasure that I would uncover is just like one of those like finger necklaces of droid fingers.
Wow.
Right, yeah, it's contraband.
Yeah.
That is what it is. That is what the treasure
Forbidden
is.
items.
But it's just like a big like cache of them, just like millions of necklaces of droid fingers.
Are they
It's
worth
brilliant.
You
anything?
found a serial killer's trove, is what you're saying.
maybe, maybe.
So AJ found cereal and she found a serial killer's.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, then I
Yeah.
guess I find a spoon. I don't know. Let's tie the whole thing together.
And then Matt finds blue milk.
Yeah, I could get.
Honestly,
I could get
like,
behind that. Blue cheese at
my
that
mind
point.
keeps going back to like the renewable and self-sustaining energy of certain technologies and how things are still functioning thousands of years later.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
something like that would be the right thing to find. But I don't want to be that normie who says, "Oh, I want a lightsaber," and cut my own arm off in like 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Honestly,
I thought of that.
who
But I
else
don't want
would know?
my little stinker children's children in the future to get that as an heirloom. That's just for me.
Mm.
And
That's
it would
true.
last forever. So like I can't be
And then-
responsible for
and then you would
who
bury
gets this lightsaber after I die,
Yeah.
Lightsaber in the wrong hands could be
Yeah,
a problem.
Good point.
I don't know. I feel like there's great responsibility in this question.
That's
like,
why I
yeah,
said droid
break-
fingers because
Powerful. Oh no.
That's why I said cereal.
It's a memento, but it
Stupid.
can't do damage. I hear you. No, you got the right idea. I want a functional gonk droid.
Okay.
There
I'll
it is.
finally buy an electric car because I can
Instead
just
of
get
a
the gonks
chest.
to charge them up. And
It's a gonk buried in the sand, and he's very thankful that you
yeah.
freed him.
I don't want to drive a million miles to a charging station. I've got my own gonk. He can just
That's perfect.
That
yeah,
is perfect.
insert him into the trunk, just constantly charging the vehicle.
That's genius.
So you unburied him just to stuff him in your trunk.
Exactly.
That's cruel, but
That's
I
a
like
cruel
it.
life.
Gonk droid's always the right answer. When in doubt, gonk.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. You're right. What do I want? I'm gonna find a bunch of blue studs. That's my
Oh,
True Jedi answer right there.
yeah.
no
that's it.
purple studs.
No, just blue studs.
Okay.
Just
You don't
That way, it's more satisfying to collect them all.
Okay.
See, gonk droid is my like personal favorite thing to want. But like, if I was a person who existed in the galaxy, I'd want something really valuable in universe, like silicax crystals.
There you go.
Mm.
Trade them for some Mandalorian armor.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's in
Yep.
universe, right?
You could
Yeah,
be you could be Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
To answer
That's
Jordan's
exactly what it
question,
is.
as far as I know, the gonks do not require a charge themselves.
Yeah, they just need to like chill for a little bit on their own and like reboot their power.
They can charge
Um,
themselves up. Yeah.
That's
Um,
crazy.
That's wild.
But yeah, I love how you guys all actually did some sort of a mini want, and I'm just like, yeah, I never know what I want. I just gotta say, so like
You
that's why I'm
went-
like,
You went the duped angle. We're all like, "Oh, I'll find this, and you're like, "I'm probably gonna get duped.
treasure
I'm
map
probably
non-believer.
gonna be tricked."
I'll
I'll-
go on the adventure, but I know I'm not really gonna find anything. It's the journey,
You
The treasure
Go
is
in
the
search
journey.
of fool's gold.
There you
pretty
go.
much.
It's the friends we made along the way, the crew,
Oh yeah.
part of the crew.
Yeah,
part
that's
of
what I find buried at the X is my friends.
Hey, everybody. Just
And
like chilling.
we're all alive.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone's fine. Everyone's fine.
We're all
Speaking
gone
of
for it.
friends, our next segment here, which we did last week that we debuted, is Posts of the Week, where we look around the interweb, the HoloNet, if you will, and see our
If you
favorite
will.
posts that have to do with the episode of Skeleton Crew. So let's roll through these. So this one's from Charlotte from Sky Talkers. Talk about the theremin stands. This is our moment, which
This is it.
Mick Giacchino went to town with the score this episode.
Yeah, he did.
As
Absolutely.
the whole show has been phenomenal so far. So next one here is how do you do, fellow kids? With
Oh my God.
Jod showing up. Jod with the kids was amazing. Obviously,
Yeah.
we'll get to that. This one made me laugh today, and this was my favorite moment of the
Yeah,
episode.
I saw that one.
So Hauser Baja Blast, great username, great meme. So
Fantastic. Baja
aye.
Ballast.
And this one, we know this
Oh,
person.
jeez.
This is
I don't know who this
Jamie,
is.
Star Wars, and
Oh, nice.
Chiquino. So yeah, just once again, the score has been phenomenal. I mean, a Star Wars pirate show, you expect nothing less.
I gotta say, I wasn't expecting Star Wars to even say anything about that, and I was like, oh,
And they
all
chimed
right.
in.
Thank you guys.
I forgot to crop this one down, but it's still funny. The Power of the Twin Suns in the palm of my hand with Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina. I could not get over that.
I didn't hear it at first, but
I didn't either.
Me either. It wasn't until the after show podcast I did that. It was.
Everybody was talking about it. I was like, what?
amazing though. Loved that. And I like that response there by that guy.
If you
That
listen
was
back,
him?
you can totally tell it's him too. But it's
Yeah, that guy Josh is all of us. That was him.
Oh, that was him. But there you go. A couple posts. See how the community's doing. Featuring a
Doing
few
well.
friends there, as we always try to do. So, with that being said, let's get to the main entree here. If I can find my graphics
cereal.
to move the show along.
the
The
cereal.
Skeleton Crew breakdown.
Yarg, arg.
Jamie, take the wheel, Captain.
So I want to try to do this week of what were your guys like initial like thoughts on the episode before we like dive into it. So just like a quick like what were your like main like takeaways, like your initial thoughts of this episode? So Kyle, you go first.
Well, on the surface, I very much enjoyed the episode. I thought the pacing was solid, and I really liked the new characters that were introduced, like getting the observatory. Just like, well, we could dive into that in detail a little later, but like that whole concept was fantastic. Felt like something out of an 80s movie. It really reminded me of like Mother Agra and the Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
With her
exactly.
big orrery that she had, Getting Crimson Jack name drop was really cool. All of the moments were really fun. Like I have yet to see a moment in this show where it feels like the momentum has lagged at all.
Yeah, those
Everything is
seriously.
kind of
flies.
service to the plot, but also giving you time to breathe and really like we're getting to know these characters. Just enjoying it. In short, I'd just say like, I'm enjoying the show.
Yeah, it seems to be everybody. Everybody's loving
100%.
this. It's
Right?
a blast.
Yeah.
Really
I
is really
100%
nice.
agree. Matt, what's your opening take on the
Oh,
show
just-
in this episode so far?
So much whimsy. I can't get enough whimsy. It's just so whimsical. Oh my God, when they showed up to like a moon observatory with like a wise owl alien, oh, come on. I mean, that's just fun. That's just like pure fun. I as somebody who just adores like every creature put to Star Wars like on screen, I'm just feasting. I'm feasting this entire show, and I think I will be the entire time because I'm just having a blast.
Oh yeah, it's a buffet.
Oh yeah.
It's nice to get our creature feature, like get sated for that now before we go back to like the absolutely human centric Andor season 2.
Oh
Right
yeah,
around
right.
the corner.
Seriously.
Mhm.
So drink it in while it lasts.
I'm drinking in those aliens. We've got some very good aliens this year. Very good.
Seriously.
Definitely.
And
AJ,
drones.
what was your opening take here for this episode?
My opening take is this show is like Kyle said and Matt were saying, like kind of both things combined. Like this show, there's never a dull moment. The show moves, as we say, like, oh, this movie moves. This show moves. And I hate to always be like, oh, this is my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing. Andor, like Andor's the next thing coming up. I love Andor, and that's probably my favorite Star Wars show. But this is up there. Like I could watch these kids all day. I could watch this show all day. I think Jod and the kids' dynamic is only going to get better. Like everything's amazing. SM-33, my favorite droid maybe ever, and you've only seen him in
He's so good.
3 episodes now. But
2 episodes. He wasn't in the first one.
Absolute
right.
masterclass of puppetry. His
Yes.
movements, the way he's so physical. I love
absolutely,
Yeah,
it. Same with
On
Kim,
all
same with the
levels.
puppet. Excellent performance.
dude.
But just-
It's everything has been so practical.
Yeah.
And I think they shared something online recently. I saw that there's going to be like a giant crab monster or something that they're going to encounter that was done in stop
Ooh.
motion.
Yeah, I saw
I'm
that.
gonna
same clip.
lose it. A
So
stop
something that
motion
I've
monster in Star
absolutely-
Wars again? Come on.
I've loved. They said it was Phil Tippett too. So it's
Yep.
not just
Yeah.
like stop
The
motion.
goat.
Studios.
It's the man.
It's the
So
Phil
they-
Tippett also did
Feature guy.
the cranes on the Junkyard Planet when Bill Burr got like
Mhm.
sprung to go on the
Yes.
mission.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
all
right.
stop motion from Phil Tippett, which is
I remember that.
you
Yeah.
just sprinkle it in and just
Yeah.
it's one of the reasons why it still feels so authentic, even though it's so
So, like-
contemporary now and the production values are so much higher than they used to be. It still feels kind of 80s and like janky in a good way, and that's totally
In a good way.
one of the
Yeah.
big parts of that. Stop
That's one
motion.
of the
Something
best
that
I
things
hope we never
Disney has
lose it.
done with Star Wars so far is
I-
recapturing that 80s feel.
I feel like the show has kind of like definitely done that so far, but I just wanted to add in that I love how Star Wars is showing additional behind the scenes along the way, like a lot
Yeah.
of it, and not just like, oh haha, here we are laughing around on set. It's like a lot of stuff, like up front, and it's just very cool to actually see the production of it along the way. And actually getting so much information like up front like this, and I've just like loved every second of that so far.
I hope we're
Um,
also going to get a Disney Gallery episode for this, and they're not doing
Oh,
this
please.
instead of,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So-
why we're getting so much stuff is because they're not going to do a Disney Gallery.
So who knows? I would love to see some sort of like behind the scenes thing. So like eventually, but like the content that we've been getting so far was very similar to like the first season of the Mando Gallery, where it was like all the directors around the table. Which
Right.
I've said on the record numerous times, I hated that format of them just being like, "Oh, you're so good, and it's like we didn't get anything new. It was just like, yeah. So like I hope that like there is like more of what they're showing now, and then eventually in the future.
Can I add one thing to my take? Like, I just
sure.
I love this show so much, and I think all of us who are pretty much on the same page with Star Wars love this show so much because it's pretty much Glup Shido the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Glup Shido a Star Wars story. Like that's what this show kind of is.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Balls to the wall. Like I couldn't think of another. But like that's what the show is. It's
One of the
I'm here for it.
primary antagonists propelling the plot forward is a gosh darn Shistavainen. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
it doesn't get much gluppier than that, honestly.
Oh,
Seriously.
man.
Some deep,
Um,
like
He's great, too.
the teak that drove them from Port Borga to the ship
Yeah. You got
Yes.
the
right out of the gate.
fuzzball. You got
The
holiday
hologram
special
show.
references. You've got
Yeah.
you're just all over the place. I mean, it's incredible the stuff they're drawing from. This really is Glup Shido. They're doing
But it
their
Port
makes
best.
Borgo.
sense.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Well, yeah, of course.
Port Borgo is what I imagine the inside of my mind looks like.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like in there.
Complete
But
with like the
anyways.
guys like throwing up in like the background when they're
Oh,
not
yeah.
like feeling
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Just-
Yeah.
One
essential.
comparison that I haven't seen anyone make, like everyone's saying Tortuga, Pirates of the Caribbean, yes, absolutely, but also Hook. When
Yeah.
when he first arrives and he's walking around and just beholding all of the market stalls and crazy stuff happening, that's absolutely the vibe.
Yeah.
Very
100%.
And
Yeah.
Hook is Amblin too, right?
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
I think
There's
so.
the connection.
Yeah.
Of course. Well,
There
of
it
course,
is.
it's like Hook. Then should have known.
Yes.
Um,
I'm just trying to think of my like opening bit as well. I mean, I've loved like the outside of like the show and everything so far that they've been showing, but I loved this episode so much of us getting more context on like what the broader story is of like what's the mystery of Ad-Atten, and like I loved how we got like a little bit more of a taste at like what's going on with that. I love how this show has been hey, there's this like broader question going on, but we're also gonna like actually give you a little bit along the
Yeah.
way. It's not like
Mm.
it's like beholden over us the entire time and they go on a wild goose chase and they don't even talk about it. Like it's been like, okay, here's a little bit of progress each time. I really love the flow. I really love the flow of it. I wrote down somewhere at one point as well how I love how this show, AJ just said, like the show moves like in the proper way. Like it goes by really quickly, but so much happens. And like the show is just, it's just really well made. It flows really well. The cuts are really well. The comedic timing
The
on a lot of the
editing.
cuts is so good.
Mhm,
Like I'm just
mhm.
like,
Really good
God,
comedy.
like just,
Acting is
Mm.
fantastic. The kids are
Yeah,
great.
the
It is.
performances have been solid.
The
Kids
kids
are
are
great.
phenomenal.
Especially, and it kind of rehashes what you were saying earlier, Matt. But the creature performances,
Yeah.
all of the puppetry combined with the voice performances have been absolutely stellar. Specifically, Kim, the way she was throwing
Yeah.
in these really weird little owl squawks and squeaks and like
yes.
almost involuntary things. My question about Kim was Kim actually is that an alien species or is that an animal that has been raised in intelligence? Because it had like the Lobot bar
Okay.
on the
So-
back of the head.
Oh, that'd be
Good
It said
question.
yet unconfirmed, but I was gonna bring up how she had like the headgear on the back, and I thought that was really cool to see that on a non-human species. So I would assume it's some sentient species, but with the additional.
Because
But
if that's true, then we, the
unconfirmed
audience, are
who-
like, "Holy shit, a talking owl!" And the characters are going, "Holy shit, a talking owl!" At the same
Yeah,
time.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
How interesting would that be if in Star Wars there was a character that was an animal that could talk instead of just like like an alien?
like a bona fide rocket raccoon situation.
Yeah, literally like a mastiff just like shows up and is like, "Hey,
I mean, like,
How's it
isn't
going?"
there like
But
the
he sounds
horse
like Meow.
pilot? Isn't there just like a random like pilot
well,
that's a
yeah,
horse?
There
the
is.
horse.
So, like-
but
There
those are a species of horsemen. They aren't horses
he's
that,
just
were,
a
that were
horse.
turned into pilots.
He's more than a horse. He has rights in the new.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's who this owl creature is as well. It's just like that. So
How he flies
than
an
that.
X-wing with hooves, I don't know.
It's the
no.
adaptation.
That's a question for the man upstairs, George
Yeah.
Lucas.
let's
Yeah, I was
let's get into the episode actual breakdown. Now that we've all kind of gotten our sillies out, but there's more sillies to get out here. So so this episode was episode 3. Very interesting as an astrogation problem.
So
Typo.
it's like
Confirm the
navigation.
typo.
Reading
but
it out,
astro.
reading
It's tough
it
to read out.
is different than hearing it. I
Astrogation.
gotta say, everyone write it down. Try to say it out loud. You're gonna struggle.
No, it took me forever.
English
to
is
figure
my
out how to
native
say it.
language.
The
Anyway.
actual word is astrogation.
There you go.
Astrogation.
Spelled it
It's-
astrogration on the title.
See,
Oh,
that's why I
wow.
was confused. This is
Yeah,
very
I didn't
wicked
even know
with like
that.
the switching
Typo,
of like
yeah.
the words. What are we
They
doing?
typoed the title. That's so funny.
They did.
Wow.
Shh.
Directed by David
All right.
Lowery.
Yeah.
David, it's your fault. Just kidding. So this episode starts back on Ad-Atten with the little parents meeting, right? And we have all of the moms and Wendell just like having like
I
their all
know.
nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic of all of them already. Of just everyone is just like obviously super concerned because they don't know where the kids are. And there's the person who's just like checked out, Wendell. The person who's just like, oh, they'll be fine. And then there's the people that are like freaking out, which are KB's moms. And then like Neil's mom is just like,
Where was Neil's dad?
he was watching the kids.
Oh,
He's
Yeah.
running the circus. He's got a busy life.
He's in his man cave with the neon light.
And the poster with the.
Yeah.
I
the
really
woman
enjoyed
with the two
KB's
mugs.
mom's like instant meltdown.
Yeah.
As soon as,
Yeah.
as soon as your kids are on a ship, they're like, "Oh my god, where are they? We need them right now!" Like that was so real. That was really well done.
It was a good like illustration of pretty much every kind of parent in that kind of a situation where we have
Right,
the
one of
one
us
that,
in
like
there.
I said, one that's checked out, one that's just like they're gonna be fine, one that is just kind of like on the fence and just like okay, and then one that is absolutely like panicking, everything is world ending.
I was waiting for
Absolutely
somebody to
amazing.
snap.
Kind of
those
ruined
droids.
the moment for me though, because as Wendell's checked out on the couch, and he was like, he's just thinking, "Man, I really got to get back to work."
Yeah.
I mean,
He's like sitting there
maybe
thinking about his TPS reports and not his kid.
I think he'll get a pass.
He's always got to get back to work.
My
So
supervisor's gonna be on my ass.
so supervisor. Speaking of supervisors, the security droid just re-arrives and he just claims that he talked to the supervisor. Who do we think the supervisor is in this situation? Because even the undersecretary there seems a little bit freaked out that the supervisor can't do anything.
It's feeling very man behind the curtain,
Oh yeah.
like
Wizard of
Also,
Oz.
I rewatched the episode, and an interesting detail about that droid showing up at the house. He walked all the way there.
Yeah,
He's-
you can
In the
see
wide
him
shot of
walking up the
city,
road.
We see him on the sidewalk, and then we see him going up the cul-de-sac. Like, why not take a speeder? Like, what's
It's a nice brisk
there's
walk.
nothing strange about that decision? But the
Gotta
fact
loosen
that
up the
she's the
joints.
undersecretary, which sounds very high in the hierarchy, and she doesn't seem to know much about the supervisor's like decisions or actions or even their identity. Maybe
Yeah.
it's feeling very
Mhm.
secretive, and I think the supervisor might actually be the primary antagonist of this story.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Very well could be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Definitely.
I'm
Well-
thinking maybe a pirate that found Ad-Atten and decided to establish a colony or something, and
Yeah,
has been living here ever since. lying
Star Wars
about-
has done this before. The last time it happened, it turned out to be 3 pit droids pretending to be a deity,
Please
lording
give
it
me
over
that.
in like a primitive society. So anything's possible.
I love that.
Could be wild.
I think
yeah,
it is a droid
It
though.
could be Rod of the Hutt. Just saying.
I don't
Please.
don't think it's a droid either, but I think that it's definitely someone who knows what's going on beyond the barrier because the undersecretary doesn't necessarily seem to know, or she seems to know like who it is. She's like, oh, I'll request a meeting with the supervisor. So it seems that she's like chatted with them before, at least. but who knows? The other most intriguing part about this like intro scene was KB's moms in the background are yelling about KB has a life monitor and her life monitor went offline and she has special
I must have
needs.
missed that. I see
Yeah.
that
It's
people in the
very
chat
like
talking about it.
because it's them like very rushed, like gushing about, oh my god, what's going on? Where is she? But it's funny that they even mentioned the life monitor because it's very like real life, life 360. Like, oh my god, my
It's
kid's
a
signal like
EpiPen.
went
It
down.
doesn't have a space EpiPen, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess I'm curious, what are your theories of like what KB's special needs could potentially be? Because her both of her moms there both looked completely fine. And it doesn't seem like, but who knows what they may have had some sort of like disability wise. But what do we think KB's special needs are?
What a
I don't
question.
know. And I
hadn't
don't
thought of
know.
that.
I don't know if they'll really touch upon
I don't know
that,
if they'll
but-
touch upon anything specific. It could just be like at some point she'll start freaking out and being like, "Oh, my health."
I mean, I
Everybody's
will
like,
point
"Oh,
out
no,
that
come up.
one of the chief tropes among like the '80s child cast movies is the kid with asthma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who has got an inhaler.
Oh, 100.
So that could be
100%.
KB is like the inhaler kid,
Ooh.
and that's what she's
Mm.
missing.
Prediction time.
My question about it is so does she have enhancements or is it like a full blown Lobot setup with her like her
I think it's
implant?
just enhancements.
I think it's enhancements.
I think it's enhancements.
We've seen the back of her head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
it's
think she has
untouched.
the Lobot thing.
She has like something in the side of her head.
Right.
And the
It's a
headset's
fully
attached to
embedded
it.
thing
But,
because she could plug
yeah.
into the door.
yeah.
Because Lobot can't survive without maintaining that.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe the life monitor could be associated with an implant. But you're right.
Mm.
She just has like something, an add-on. It's not really like Lobot's. It replaces a lobe of his brain.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
But we don't.
Echo has
That's
the same
different,
kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Or
Yes.
Echo's
Which is
enhanced.
just to
Echo
help
has that
him
same kind.
Okay.
after everything.
But
We
with
don't necessarily.
KB,
Yeah.
oh, I have a quick prediction. So I do think we'll find out what the medical issue is, and I think something's going to happen. Like Kyle was saying, some sort of like asthma thing, some sort of medical issue is going to be going on. She's not going to have the proper thing to help her, and I think we're going to get Jod in a situation where he has to choose between, I don't know, something with money and helping the kid. I think he'll help the kid. Maybe we'll get a little crossroads like that.
You know, I like where your mind's at because this episode as well, they went out of their way to have KB and Jod have like additional dialogue with each other.
A lot of
Yeah,
additional.
no,
a
seriously.
lot.
She's literally
your headset.
constantly being like, I don't trust you. I don't trust
Yeah.
you. I don't
Mhm.
trust you. He's like, okay, all right.
For some reason, this like
Yeah.
discussion is making me think of an ancient Vine of this like 8-year-old kid who's like, I just got diagnosed with cool guy syndrome, so now I take Ritalin.
A good old Vine. A
That's
relic.
like scratching some sort of memory in my head right now.
Yeah,
Oh
and then
my
it just like
God,
smash
Vine.
cuts after he finishes talking. He's like, so now I take Ritalin. Maybe that's KB. That seems
you
more like
So-
more like Wim, if anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
For me, prediction wise though, regarding what I think it might be is I think that her headset enhancement is something. I think that she, hear me out, guys. I don't want to say this, but I think that she might be a tad force sensitive, and
You think
that's
so?
like it's some sort of
Oh,
dampener.
here we go. I'm
It runs through all of us.
Hear me out.
Those gods.
So
Yeah,
I
he
think that
said
she,
what binds us all.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I think that it might be some sort of like dampener type thing, but maybe not. Who knows? What kind of technology is that? No.
I mean, they.
idea. Um,
I know it was a joke, but they did play it up. Remember when she kind of
Yeah.
senses the droid around the corner, and they're like, "Is she?"
I think that's
sensitive?
probably because of her headset. Probably has
I
some
thought
sort of
so,
like
too.
proximity thing. But
Yeah.
hey, I'll throw it out there. I
Alright,
don't
throw it
like
out there.
it. I don't like it.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
But
In regards to Jod's force sensitivity, it's really interesting. I watched episode 3 twice and had very different reads on it both
Yeah.
times. The first
Mm.
time I found it pretty compelling, the way he like makes the noise happen over there, a la Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Yeah.
and then like he senses someone coming around the corner. And the second time I was like, okay, he spent a long time on this asteroid. He probably knows exactly when the creaks and croaks are going to happen. So he just timed it with like boom, made a sound happen. Explainable. Like
Yeah.
magnets and repulsor lifts, also explainable with the key.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It could go either way. It really
when you
could.
watch it through again, it kind of seems like the way that he's using the force is more so just like, oh well, here's this thing, and it's just kind of like, "Meow," and I did it. It like he doesn't. When you keep rewatching it, it's more of like a party trick for him than anything
The other
else.
one,
Exactly.
when he waves his hand to turn the lights off when he's talking to KB, You
Yeah.
hear a click. He absolutely clicks the remote in his hand, and just like
Or
disguises
he's using the force to hit the light switch.
Then why is he doing a weird hand position thing?
Because that's the force.
He fully like clicks it and tries to be all. No, like they added that sound effect in there to make us.
I'll have to watch closer.
Whether
But
or
speaking
not,
of sound effects, I mean, I guess it would be too obvious if they didn't include the force sound effect when he was doing force things, because then would you immediately be like, well, it doesn't sound like he's using the force, so he's not using the force.
right? The
but
kids
the
are our
fact-
perspective characters, so we have
Yeah.
to see it from their eyes.
But the fact that we hear
strange.
him use the force, I don't know.
It's such a silly debate. I hate
It
debates
is.
like this.
I mean, I
gotta-
can't wait to
gotta
see
say.
what it's revealed as, because it could very well be the force. We've never,
I think it's
Let's-
the Force,
for some reason,
but he's not a Jedi. Wasn't not a Jedi.
like, yeah, people seem to
way.
be averse to just like random force sensitive people just out and about learning their force sensitivity, training on it on their own, and just kind of using it in everyday life.
yeah,
I
So
think
it's
it's
either
very plausible.
like how
people
we
act
would.
like it has to be like a Jedi, or he was nothing. Like everybody's all like, well, I don't know, he could have been a Jedi, but it's like, what if he was just like a random street
What if
rat with
he's
force
just a
sensitivity
guy?
who learned to use his force sensitivity? Like, why can't it be that?
That'd be
Especially
a
with
cool-
like
It
25
cool
absolutely
angles.
can be that non-denominational force user.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always said that.
If the force manifests randomly in all living beings, then how could it not be more prevalent? You know?
yeah.
this
So,
is a good
like,
point. The
he
kids
never
had the same
once-
debate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
right.
do. And like he
The
never
kids are
once
so
claims that he is a Jedi. It's just Wim is the only one to immediately be like, oh, he's a Jedi. And John's
right.
like,
He
sure.
specifically says, like, I was not a
I
Jedi.
take issue
I
with,
never
with
said I
that
was.
statement that he made, because again, when I rewatched it, I paid attention, and they said, "You are a Jedi, aren't you?" And he looks at her and says, "Of course."
Yeah,
So
I mean,
he
he's also just
he may
saying
not have made
whatever
the
to get
statement,
out of
"I
there.
am a Jedi," but he directly responds to the question with "Of course." So, in my opinion, he said he was a Jedi.
It's true. It's true.
Now he's going
is
back
true.
on.
I think that he's just kind of like playing to the crowd at that point in time, and he knows he needs all the kids' trust in order to get out of that like
Yep,
hallway.
yep.
So he's just like, let me just.
he'll say
do
whatever he
that.
needs to say.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whether or
Now-
not he's force sensitive, I think that we can all agree that we can't trust him or what he
No.
said.
Well, yeah. No, of
Yeah,
course
not fully.
not yet.
I will say, does oh my god, what was Kunal Nanjiani's character in Obi-Wan
Haja.
Kenobi? Haja.
Haja. Yep.
Do we hear the Force when he does
We
his?
don't. And I was going to bring that
So-
up. That's the only
okay.
instance of no sound effect with a force scene, and that was to lead us to the conclusion that it's
Right.
Triss.
But he was not.
And
Yeah.
again, you know,
I think they actually do play a sound effect for the very first one, and then
Mhm.
after that, it becomes obvious, and there's no more sound effects.
okay, interesting.
All right, let's
Interesting.
quick.
Be either way.
Let's stuff this for the time being. The quick around we'll go around really quick. Either say yes or no. Do you think he's actually force sensitive? So Kyle,
I'm going to remain skeptical and say no.
okay.
Hmm.
Matt, is he actually force sensitive?
I'm gonna say yes.
AJ, is he actually force sensitive?
Yes.
And then I'm also going to say yes. I think he is actually force sensitive, and we're gonna.
Kyle's gonna.
All right, well,
We're
you
gonna
guys
table that.
control. I'm experimental. Let's see
It's
what happens.
fine. We're
We're
gonna
ready to
table that
vote.
for another time.
It was nice having you on. Goodbye.
Launch.
So I want to talk a little bit about Port Borgo. They only were there for a little bit this episode, but I was actually started.
I was late to the outro. To the fake outro.
saw it like blip for a second there, the outro playing. I'm like, what was that? The Port Borgo. I want to talk about it
Yes.
a little bit. I love how the prison was like underneath the asteroid and everything. That was very, very like classic pirate prison of like you're on like the cliffs, like and I thought that was
Yeah.
very cool.
Oh yeah.
Port Borgo is
Um,
an absolute deep cut. It's cool seeing it on screen. It's been in Legends since the
Yeah.
Kevin J. Anderson's Shadow Academy
Borgo
trilogy.
Prime.
First
Borgo
time we see it.
Prime. Yeah.
Right. And then I think it was actually canonized in like 2018 when Solo came out. It was in the Smuggler's Guidebook. Was when we first get a canon reference to it.
That is
So
a
it has
deep
been in
cut.
canon for a while, but this is still our first time getting to see it on screen. Visually gorgeous. And like
yeah.
you said, like
Yeah.
the way it had the hollow fields across, like creating this
Yeah.
really cool glow. Loved
This
it.
is very, very, very cool overall. I think that one thing as well that's like super important from the start is none of the kids trust him outright.
Yes.
At least until
Except-
like Wim and Neil introduce themselves
Yeah,
so
except for Wim.
excitedly. but none of them really like fully trust him, which is good that
Wim
these
does.
kids do have a little bit of sense of
Yeah, unquestioningly, Wim trusts him.
Wim's an idiot. Wim's the one who trusts him. No one else does.
Jedi, yes, please.
Well, Wim trusts him, and Neil trusts Wim.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
He just goes with whatever Wim says.
Neil is the biggest
There you
bro
go.
on the planet.
He is.
That is
Well, that's good. I've noticed that too. That's because that plays into the dichotomy of their home lives too. The way Wim just wants to like have a good adventure and have something that's like fun for himself, and because Neil is just surrounded by love all the time. Like he got embraced by his parents when he walked in, and like the kids are like, "It's Neil. Neil's home." Like they're happy to see him. That's the only way that he knows how to show support to his friend is just like loving him and like trying to make him feel that same way. So he'll just do whatever, go along with whatever Wim wants to do.
And Wim wants a dad.
See ya.
Wim wants a dad, you know. So he's looking at this older guy who's like, "Hey, I'm a Jedi."
he's
I'm cool,
searching
I'm
for
awesome.
his father figures.
Yes.
Where's Kylo
So-
Ren to be like, "You see him as a father."
Kill him. You
Disappointed.
have to.
So I love when they make the trip to the ship for the first time with Jod, and obviously they're in the little like bubble ships, and we have the absolutely iconic moment of Neil looking at the blaster.
Yes.
like,
his
the
eyes are like,
visuals-
"Ooh."
Oh
It's
my
just-
god.
It's so good. Like
eyes
there's so
are
many just
fantastic.
little visuals in this show that you're gonna miss if you're actually paying attention to what's going on in the scene. Like you have to like look at what's going on in the
This is
background.
definitely a rewatch show.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And a lot of them will be just like Neil's like reactions in the background. Like,
Yeah.
Neil
it's-
is always the scene for me, so I'm always.
Yeah.
I'm
always
literally,
watching.
same. I'm always staring at that guy.
Such
he
a
is a flaw.
testament to the makeup and prosthetics that he can have such expressive like facial expressions while wearing so much stuff on him.
Yeah,
Oh,
It really is
it's
impressive.
It's been funny like watching the behind the scenes of how much gear that they have him do. So half the time he's just in like the headset with like the lights and the cameras on him just to get the facial capture, so it's his actual thing, and then they blend it with the actual prosthetic, and it's just so cool. There's like another like version of like the head with like a space in like his forehead so he can actually see, and then they edit it out. But like it's so good, the blend of all of it.
Did you guys see the Skeleton Crew advertisement that Star Wars posted the other day that had like it was like a sitcom and it had like the behind the scenes everybody like did the pose like the corny sitcom poses, and they had the actor who
too
played
many cooks
Neil.
promo.
Yeah, exactly. And they had the actor who played Neil, and for like the splittest second imaginable, I thought, who's this kid? And then I was like, oh my god, it's Neil. I was like, for a
Who
minute
is this kid?
on
Where's the
planet
blue guy?
Earth,
They're missing someone in the cast.
I thought Neil was real.
He
I
is.
thought he was real.
Hey,
Those
SM33 is though.
moments I think are the true triumph of filmmaking when the illusion is pointed out to you and you realize how much you bought it.
Yeah.
For me, I think that moment was when I went to Wellington in 2003 for the Return of the King premiere, and I got to meet Orlando Bloom and Elijah Wood, and they were standing next to each other, and they were the same height, and I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like,
that
"Why
would've
are you
broken my
tall?
brain,
Why
too."
are you kind of short? What is happening?"
Um,
That's when I realized how hard I actually bought that illusion. Like they really sold it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The other thing that I want to talk about before they leave Port Borgo is so like they obviously are not going to leave without SM33, and the kids are absolutely committed to going back to him. Yeah, and Jod has some unpacked trauma about droids, clearly, which we're gonna find out more about in the future. But
He used to go to meetings with Din Djarin.
literally, they go to counseling together.
Hi, I'm Jod. Hi, Jod.
I love how they the kids are all like persuading him to go back, and like they end up saying to him, we go together. And like one thing that AJ kept pointing out was the fact that in the background we're convinced that the we go together music from the Rise of Skywalker was like playing for like a trill of them saying that, and we're
I swear I heard it.
it's in there. Like
I will have to watch it again. Keep an ear out.
If we ever get
Nick,
the
if
chance
you're
to talk
watching,
to
let's get a confirmation on
Mick
that.
Giacchino, we'll ask
Yeah.
him.
we gotta ask.
Hey,
Mick.
So he goes back. So Jod goes back on his own because he's like, no, I'll do it because it's safe here, and which is pretty smart actually, for him to go back by himself. And we get this beautiful scene in the droid room, the pirate droid room.
Absolute treasure trove.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Did we win?
Oh,
Where's
so
the
sad.
prince?
So where's the prince? I have to save the prince.
Series right there.
There are so many good droids in that room, and they all, for like a split second, have like such good little personalities. Even like SM-33 is just like all like poor, like strung up there, and is like refusing to like identify who he even like is.
Who
Exactly.
programmed this droid?
I know.
Like-
Who built
There are
this?
some who call me this. Like,
And it's
who talks that way?
I said it before, they must have uploaded like the Pirate's Guide to the Galaxy like in him, because like that is like genuinely like how he operates.
We had a discussion about it too. We figured that he came normal, and then they went and deleted a bunch of subroutines.
Yeah, they took stuff
just
out.
left like half of the grammar.
I can see them
Yeah.
in like a lab, and somebody's like, "Run the pilot program," and somebody's like, "Pirate program," and they press the button, and then he immediately
All right.
breaks out. All right.
I thought
Oh, you know
said
why? You know
longbow.
why he malfunctioned on the dock, by the way, right?
Because he got what? Why?
Because his pirate light went out.
That's good. That's a classic Rugrats joke. I love that.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
That is
Um,
good.
Plumber looks like a pirate. It's
Yeah, the plumber shows up with a bandana on his head.
and they're
They're
like, we got a
convinced he's
problem.
pirate. Please, that's so funny. That's so good. Don't even get me started. I could talk
One of my
about that all day.
favorites. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you caught that immediately. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Very good.
So the droid room, and we also get Benjar, who's Alfred Molina, who just did the voice.
Hey,
Someone else was in the
yes.
suit, but he just
Did
did
you
the
notice
voice.
his super battle droid crutch?
Yes.
No. I
I'll have
didn't
to look
like
at
it.
that.
Super battle droid that he's using as a crutch.
Whoa,
This
that's
guy-
awesome.
This guy was like the saltiest of like sea dogs that like there ever were. It was just like perfect, like top
You
to
know
bottom.
he knows Scuba Stev.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like they know each other.
where's Scuba Stev?
And
He's been to
Jar
Where
Daddy.
Portland,
is
though.
Scuba
He-
Stev?
He's fishing.
He is conspicuously absent from this show, though. This
True.
would be his moment.
This would. Oh my God. He's the most
Maybe we'll see
navy-coated
him.
man on the planet, in the
What
galaxy.
was the name of his ship? The Grapnel?
Yeah, I think so.
Totally
Yeah.
parked at Port Borgo.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he's been there at least.
Oh my god. But anyway, Alfred Molina's guy, Benjar there. I love how he referred to Jod referred to him as, "Oh, that's a good tip." Like I thought that was like really,
Yeah.
really cute and really smart
Mm.
of like the dialogue. Just be like, "Oh, you're a good man." Be like, "Oh, you're a good tip." Like,
Yeah.
'cause that's what
The
he is.
dialogue's
She
very
did.
clever. Yeah.
It's so good. And then this goes back to what I said in the beginning of I love how the show is like literally like cut in like the timing of everything, because that scene literally ends with, "Oh, you're supposed to be here? All right, let's call the guards." And then it cuts back to the kids being like, "He's not a Jedi," and you see like this chase
As the
happening.
yeah.
firefight
in the background.
unfolds, it's
So good.
And they're just oblivious to the danger. too.
It's so good. But that's perfect though, because like it's these kids having this serious conversation of like, "Yeah, we don't trust this guy," and they go through all options of like what's wrong with it, and then you literally have in the back like, "Start the ship, start."
So the very next thing that
Yeah.
happens is they run down the hallways and jump into the guns that take him to the
Yeah.
cockpit bubbles.
It's the next
And that,
bit, yeah.
I have to
It's
say,
later.
Star Wars terrifies me with moving machinery because, like, if you're sitting in that chair wrong, you're getting cut in half on your way.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You're right.
Same with
Absolutely.
Ahsoka's ship. That table that just goes down into the floor and goes flush with the floor.
Yep.
Watch your feet. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, you're gonna lose your toes if you're like
Lose
not
your
finished
toes.
like getting up yet.
Oh
No
yeah.
kidding. And it's
It-
and
I was
don't even
scared.
get me started if you're not a human. Like if you're
Right.
a wide species,
That's how you lose a tentacle, man.
yeah,
Mm.
right. You're not fitting in that.
So, I also we're still on Port Borgo, guys. We're almost off of it.
We gotta
Um,
we gotta leave Port Borgo. I'm
I don't
We're-
want to leave Port.
We're
Let's get
about
outta
to
here.
we're about to leave Port Borgo. The fuel lines were very, very sturdy.
Jesus, right?
So
That was very Force Awakens to me.
It
oh,
was.
like,
absolutely.
It very
that's
much
what it
was.
I can
reminded
fix
me
that.
of. I was trying to like place like what that was. Literally the scene with Finn and Poe when they're literally attached to the fuel
exactly.
line. Okay.
Also,
I was like,
Pee-wee's,
I've
Pee-wee's
seen
Big
this before.
Adventure when they knock over the motorcycles in front of the
Yep.
biker bar.
Yep.
The
Oh,
way all the
absolutely.
shit crashed into each other. That's
That's
the
exactly
Yeah.
what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love how we have Captain Brutus running out, and just like watching all of this unfold. And there's
No.
nothing.
He doesn't run. He's too cool to
Well,
run. He walked like this. He was like,
marching
"All
out.
right, what's going on over here?" That man never goes above like a steady.
He doesn't
a
even
steady,
flinch.
like this. He's
The
too
Nothing he
cool.
ceiling
can do.
falls down right in front of him, and that man does not flinch.
So they
seen-
make the
seen
jump
some
to light
crap.
speed. That cable snaps back at light
Okay.
speed,
Oh.
mind you.
yeah,
How many people died? Probably a lot.
few.
And he's
We
just
see
like,
at
"Oh,
least 2 deaths. We see at least
Yeah.
2 people get hit full force with that
At least
presumably
2
metal
deaths.
cable.
yeah.
At least 2.
and it's the bounty on his head, and he refers to the kids as the pups, which I thought was fantastic.
I did like that. That was very funny. Yeah, no
Made me
kidding.
think of Galaxy Quest 2 when they're leaving the hangar and just like scraping across.
Yep,
Yeah,
And all the aliens are just watching as he's like,
very
Everyone's,
good.
everyone's just kind of like cringing.
It was like that.
So okay. The last thing I want to say about it is like we have two moments of them escaping this episode. We had this one in which they're escaping, and it's Jod's just taking control, and he's like, I got this in the handbasket. I got this in the
bag.
pocket, in the bag,
That's
in the
very good.
bag.
in
There
the
you go.
hand basket. I'm not. You know
Sorry.
what? I'm
I'm
not going to
saying
linger on
that
it.
from now on. I'm adding that to the lexicon. Oh, I got this in the
Sorry.
handbasket.
I got this in the
We're good.
I
handbasket.
got this in the handbasket. So
Little
John's
Red
over there
Riding Hood
saying, I got
coded.
this in the handbasket. And he's like, I can do this myself. But then like later on, we have them taking off, and it's all of them working together, and they actually escape super successfully the second time.
Yeah.
But that's
Judge
poor
just tells
Borgo.
these kids, he's like, kill these people. And they're like, okay, wow,
We're gonna
Oh
kill
my
those
goodness.
guys.
kill them.
Also, as soon as the gunner seat went up and we saw that wide shot of just like outer
That's the second
space
one. That's the
with
second
little
one.
bubble.
That's the second escape at
Yeah,
the
I
end.
know.
We
We'll
didn't,
get
we
on
didn't
the
get to
moon.
that one yet.
Oh, you're
We'll
talking
get
about
to
the
that yet.
escape through the
We'll
ship.
get to there. We'll get to
Oh, well, I
there.
thought we got to the fuel line and hyperspace.
Yeah, we
level.
just snapped to the fuel line. We're getting out of
Are we
there.
going
But he
back?
doesn't.
We're yo-yoing and back and forth in the timeline here a little bit. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
jumped ahead
yeah.
with the turrets,
I-
and I allowed it once, but that's later in the episode, and we're gonna get to it again later.
I
so-
got a
Oh,
little
I
confused
would hate to
myself.
be held in contempt of podcasts, so please.
No, we're not putting you. We're
okay,
not
it's
putting you in the
okay.
break.
I allowed it the one time. Speaking of someone who doesn't allow things
The
twice,
pranks.
SM33. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
love his interactions once they turn him back on and they're headed to this observatory. So Jod has his idea of where he's gonna go, and SM33 just immediately like does not trust Jod to like the nth degree. Like he
Mm.
just knows everything is like wrong. It just goes back to like what the heck is this guy's programming? Like he does not answer to anyone except the captain.
Yeah.
Who's
Which-
just anybody who says I'm the captain?
True.
It's Fern.
It's
It's
fair right
fine.
now. So
Oh yeah, the bowl scene.
Oh my god!
This might have been my
Whenever
favorite
Okay.
scene in the episode.
so we have this like long he makes them food for the first time, or he makes himself
He
food
makes
and happen-
himself food,
and then he's like, oh, there's extra food. I gotta say, what is the shelf life of this food? Because
I don't know.
how old is this ship?
That's a good
How
question.
what I just
I
I
can't
mean, it
imagine it
didn't
tastes
look
very
very
good.
appetizing. Yeah,
what's
the
actually gonna
whole-
happen next episode is all the kids are gonna get sick because they ate this like 300-year-old food.
that's the whole episode.
That's
is
the
just
medical
food poisoning.
emergency.
That's a medical emergency.
So
Uh,
anyway, so we have arguably now the best scene in the show so far, which is SM33 talking to Jod, and Jod's trying to suss out where these kids are actually from.
you missed the
can't e-
bowl scene though.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead because I'm so excited about the
Uh-oh.
stupid ice scene. Okay,
I
The
AJ, this is
the
the
him,
point in the-
him finishing the food, putting the bowl down and say clean this up, droid, and then like the kids go grab their food, but then it goes back to SM33 looking down and just hitting the once again perfect editing, perfect like I don't know, just perfect scene.
Yeah. Perfect comedic timing. They have the
Oh,
comedic
absolutely.
timing down pat on this show.
Oh, it was very much like Ray's meal.
I suppose.
no,
but
these,
it
these kids
was,
were eating like
gross
green
and
like
green.
sand. I gotta say.
It
More
was
than
literally
1/4
like, yeah.
portion.
Green mud, green slop.
Green
Um,
slop.
Looked like instant oatmeal.
It might have been
Green
oatmeal.
instant oatmeal.
Oatmeal stays good for a while, I think.
Yeah, for 300 years, I bet.
300 years.
At
it was,
least.
Like, ugh.
It's just oats. But anyways.
I love how Neil was also feeding Snowball, the little hamster gerbil.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Like he's like
Neil's
he's
just too
half
good
the
for this
time he's
world,
scared
dude.
of him. Half the time he's just like, yeah, I'll take care of this little guy. It's perfect. That's another one of those things. It's just like in like the background. So Jod is
Oh, yeah.
moseying about the ship, and SM33 wants nothing to do with him.
Finds a cool sword.
It's
He
a
hates
sword.
him.
And
SM33.
I just love the trying to get clarity on where these kids are from, and he's like, they're definitely from somewhere.
Somewhere.
What does that mean?
It's perfect. And then the eye and walk away, and then the coming back and just it again.
That was
I-
that. Nothing makes me like roll off the couch laughing that much, but like that did. Like that was perfect. That was like something we would have came up with. I feel. Not,
Like-
not that we're any smart in writing a show, but like that scene is so stupid. It's stupidly good.
No, I was about to say it's stupid enough for us to be like, yeah, that's good,
It's
and it
so
was.
so stupid, but like I can't stop thinking about it, and like I'm sorry, my process has gone off the rails of this recap because I can't stop thinking about that one scene now.
That's great. I can pull up the Homer Simpson again. We can have a laugh.
It's not gonna help because I'm just thinking about it.
I'm chuckling.
But Jordan brings up a good point, though. Kyle, what's your take on this? With like, how do you think? I mean, I guess a droid can always have his memory wiped, as they usually do a lot of the time. But like, how do you? SM-33 doesn't remember how we got to At-Atten or whatever happened with that crew. Do you think he'll get his memory back, or do you think's going on there?
I don't know that he has memory to retrieve. I feel like he was deactivated before they reached the planet. And so that's why there's a gap, is because he wasn't functioning when it happened. And also, I would suspect that he has not been wiped ever, because we know that droids with strong personalities, it's the result of them not skipping memory wipes. So
That's true.
he's got personality for days. I don't feel like this is anything close to like, he hasn't been wiped in like centuries, I would think.
Yeah,
That's a good
I
point.
like
Yeah,
I'm not sure that it's memory he can retrieve. It's possibly a case if he was shut down before they arrived at At-Atten.
that's a good point.
Therefore,
it would have to be because
Yeah.
he wouldn't have forgotten about it.
And the crew fought
So-
each other, so something was going on, and they all kind of killed
I'm
each
thinking
other.
everyone, they all killed each other. Everything's in disrepair. The droid's offline, and the one sole survivor plots a course for At-Atten. The ship crashes, and he dies before it arrives, or something of his wounds.
Or he becomes the supervisor.
Or
did-
there you
how
go.
old is-
There you go.
How old is Snowball? How'd that
Snowball,
little guy
I
get
mean-
in there?
If there were,
he
like-
could be a generation. I mean,
I think Snowball's a terrestrial creature from At-Atten that wormed
Probably.
its way from the ground into the buried ship.
Dug his way in.
What do we know
Does that
about
mean
like
the
At-Atten too.
so the ship's
rats
not
and like little
space-proof?
creatures? They can get like everywhere. They
Yeah.
just they crawl their way in anywhere.
Any-
so
There
like,
could be a few snowballs on there.
maybe
Oh, definitely.
he's got a family.
It's like porgs. They're everywhere.
I don't know who just said it, but that's a wild theory. If the captain of that ship is actually the supervisor or like generational, and then we have like,
Who
or we
knows?
have like a Mr. House situation where it's this guy like on ice, and then
Yeah.
I was thinking
Like,
like a
wow.
brain in a jar connected to a
Mm.
supercomputer.
Yeah,
Could be.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please.
There's got to be something, you know.
Some sort of
I like that.
artificial immortality.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot.
because they keep
What
they
if-
keep talking about
What if it's
old
Walt
Republic.
Disney?
Ooh, there you
Ooh.
go.
So, which old
That
Republic
was-
do we think it is?
Yes, that's what I mean.
I think-
okay,
Wait,
I'm
hang on.
thinking they're
There's two
actually
different
talking about
things
Old
going on.
Republic.
I think they're talking about High Republic.
I think they're talking about High
No.
Republic.
I think
They're
that's
talking-
Chancellor Lena So on the manuscript, so therefore is High Republic.
You
Yeah.
think so?
I think
Yeah.
it looks a lot like her.
There
I
was
think so
a
too.
There's
someone
two
did a
uses of the
breakdown.
Old Republic phrase. You're either talking about pre-Clone Wars Republic, just regular Republic, or you're talking about the ancient Republic. But I feel like they would
So-
say High Republic if it was High Republic.
But maybe they.
Well, you wouldn't call it
uni-
that in the
I don't-
time, would you?
In the time, you just call it the Republic, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to
maybe, I
call out.
guess.
Someone did
I
a
mean, we're
breakdown.
not going on referring to this time as whatever the historians will call it centuries from now.
True,
Right.
but like in the comics, they talk about the High Republic all the time, and they talk about it as the High Republic. Like Operation Starlight, they talk about that being like, oh, this
Good
High
point.
Republic.
I think
peaking
the
from 300
real-
years ago, blah,
I think
blah,
the
blah.
real clue lies in the fact that there's knowledge of the Sith. The
Yeah.
Sith were
Yes.
nothing more than a rumor and an urban legend during the time of the High Republic, but during the Old Republic, it was
Right.
common knowledge that like the Sith Empire was out there.
Well,
There was a
yeah.
Sith war that almost destroyed the galaxy. So it makes sense that if they know about the Sith readily like that, and Wim is playing with a Sith action figure and has stories about them, that it comes from the Old Republic, that it's earlier
what
than
I'm-
the High Republic. Because
that's what I'm
mention of the Sith is gone by then.
They also talk about they say what war. So whatever
Well, they
their
don't
time,
know.
that could be any
there's
war.
several wars before and after the High Republic. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
What
Although
war?
really
Boy, do we
those-
have some movies for you, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, so I think it's more so the High Republic, just because they mention the Great Work a lot,
They
and
do.
that's not something that's fleshed out in like the Old Republic. That was like something that is specifically a High Republic policy, and so like that's something that makes me lean
Explain
more
the
towards
Great
High
Work to
Republic.
me again. Explain it to me like
Um,
in 5.
The Chancellor of the Republic, Lena
Lena
So,
So, yeah.
just unveils all these policies called the Great Works, and they're just out
Right.
there to invigorate the galaxy and just like make everything more connected. Starlight Beacon was one of the Great Works.
Right. Okay.
The mapping out of the hyperspace lanes was another one of the Great Works, and so there's like a lot of
Right.
just like different targeted projects like that. So we don't
Okay.
necessarily know what great work this is, but I don't know.
I'm sticking with my.
Like
It's
they-
more than
theory.
likely the High Republic, and I'll tell you why. Because Disney created the High Republic.
That's true.
There's the real answer right there.
Mm,
They didn't create
Yeah.
the Old Republic, and they want to push what they created. So that's why I think all historical references from this point forward are going to be touching on the High Republic almost exclusively.
Which like there's
possible.
nothing bad about that though.
There's nothing
'cause,
bad
like,
about
No,
that.
no,
but
not
that's
at all.
that's my like behind the scenes meta. Like,
if you had to bet on
logic
it.
I
for
think
why
that
it's
it
the High
just-
Republic.
I think that it makes sense like as well, because I think that maybe like in universe they're referring to it as like the old Republic or whatever like that, because they don't necessarily know that the era they were in is the High Republic. Like the kids, like they don't know that. They still think that they're in that era of the High Republic. So they're not going to be like,
Well, then why would they say
Referring-
Old Republic?
I don't
They would
know.
just say Republic.
They would just say
this is what-
Republic, but I think that they're
I'm doubling
realizing
down on this. It's Old Republic. I'm doubling down on this.
I'm
These are
doubling down on the High
ancient
Republic.
lost. These are ancient lost planets from an ancient time, not 300 years ago.
I remember
3,000.
There's
reading
this
somewhere that
suspicious-looking
Lena
mural
So's
in one
great
of the
works
first
were
episodes.
inspired by, like, she was inspired by former chancellors of the Old Republic that
Maybe.
did similar things, and that's what inspired her to do her great works.
I just think there's
But I don't
too
remember
much.
what that's referring to specifically.
Like Disney just spent all this time this year introducing us to the High Republic. They would be dropping that name left, right, and center in this show if it was the High Republic. That's my take on this. That's what I'm thinking.
You think because
I'm
they're
think-
being cagey about it, it's got to be something less obvious than the High Republic?
I don't think they're being cagey about it. They're calling it the Old Republic, and I think it's just the Old Republic. Like I just think
it could be as simple as that.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Fabled lost planets. I forget what they called them. The lost jewels of the Old Republic or something.
The
like
jewels,
that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what
Yeah.
it was.
I feel like that's too like mystical and ancient, and these relics and ruins for like the
Atlas is
High
last
Republic.
surviving
Well, that's
planet
fair,
of the
because it's
family
only been what since the High Republic
It's been 200 something years, roughly 300 years, we'll say.
from the end of it. But like from the end of it till now, whatever. Yeah, about 200
Yeah.
years, we'll say.
I mean, we can break up the technology aspect again.
Yeah.
The tech in the High Republic is obviously a little bit different than the prequels, but I feel like if you look at it more, it might be more older. I don't know.
Well, what about
This
the
is
Great
one of the,
Barrier? Does the Great Barrier strike you more as like a Nile storm wall kind of
It's-
design?
I mean, it
Or
definitely
is it more
does
like the Parnassus
have
from
that.
the Phasma novel, because we've got two precedents being set
True.
here.
True.
And
That's
it could go either way, really.
refresh
If
me
it is
on
a
the
High Republic
Parnassus
tie-in, then
one.
Nile technology, I would think.
Refresh
Sorry?
me on the Parnassus one. I read that, but I don't remember anything about actually what happened on Parnassus and why there was a storm. What?
No, there's a corporate mining operation, and they have their own like device that shields the planet and also extracts like atmospheric like elements from it, and it's like a big swirling gas is what visually what it looks like, which resembles quite a lot
So
the
okay.
barrier that we see in
And they
Skeleton.
use the word swirling.
They
right.
do say swirling, yeah.
Do.
Yeah.
I read Phasma so long ago, and I did not retain it that well.
I'm
Yeah, I think
I'm double checking my information right now.
I think
so
that there's
I
but there's
misexplained
potential
that.
of that being what surrounds Ada, and definitely, but the whole it needs to be cloaked is the other like big thing.
Yeah.
Not just like protecting from like people going in or out. It needs to be also cloaked. One thing that I noticed when Ada is shown earlier in this episode is the big like towers that kind of look like the tower in like Toronto. But that like is like in like the background. There's
The
a lot
CN
of them.
Tower.
If you look in
Huh.
like the distance, there's like more in the distance. So those
I
are
hadn't
just
given that any
big,
thought.
big like needles like projecting this thing, this barrier into the sky. So
Okay, I was almost right.
Okay.
It was a mining
it's-
operation, but there was a disaster.
Oh, okay.
That's
There's
what
always a mining disaster.
it was a disaster
yeah.
that caused the swirling.
Mining never goes well.
no.
Jeddah was
Um,
destroyed in a mining accident.
So do we? So
Hertford Mines.
the veil over the planet, or whatever we're calling it,
The barrier.
the barrier,
barrier.
the veil,
Barrier.
Great Barrier Reef.
the Great
Yep.
Barrier Reef of
Sydney.
Adatin.
Um,
We think it's man-made, not just like a natural thing.
yeah, I
I-
think
It,
Yeah.
it has a
It
perfect
has to
grid
be.
of little red lights. spaced evenly throughout. Like that can't be natural.
I think it's
No,
leaning
okay.
more towards it is like man-made by something. Who made it? I don't know. I think that it's either
Man.
some
So,
sort of corporation
I-
made
I-
device, or it's Nihil Stormwall. If it
I
is
think
Old
this-
Republic, it's definitely some Corpo Zerka
yeah.
Corp situation.
I think
Freaking
this
Zerg.
planet,
The
this
acme
planet
of
is
Star Wars.
legit a Fallout vault that someone
It
forgot
is.
about.
It is.
It's
That's-
a experimental society that they forgot about, like we've been saying. But
God,
yeah,
I've said it before.
which is
And
hilarious.
people have been posting pictures of Epcot and then comparing it to like the central circular city of
The map is
whatever it
I'm
is.
telling
Yeah.
you, it's Walt Disney.
Mentioned
Yeah.
it from the start, and that's why it's
Your-
even funnier that it's like this place is controlled
Your
by a
theory
jar,
might
a
come-
frozen
come
jar
to-
in a head.
come to life.
Frozen head in a jar.
Frozen head in a jar.
Man, I cannot form
This
thoughts
is
tonight.
this
guys.
is like this is fun to talk about though. Like obviously
This is-
podcasting is always fun, but this is actually a fun mystery to kind of speculate on.
Totally.
We'll see where it
Sometimes
goes.
it kind of feels like
Yeah.
a slog. Like, oh, I wonder how are we going to get to the bottom of this? But this one's kind of like lighthearted in a way.
And I
you
can
can
see
tell
all of
them
our
the
points,
payoff.
so like
Like-
it's good.
as I said in the beginning of the show, like this show in general has been actually super enjoyable to watch along the way, and you're feeling compelled along the way. But then you also get all these thoughts afterwards, even though we're given a lot of information. So it's interesting. It's nice to have like so much to chew on.
Yeah.
But also be like, you know what? I'm like content as well. Like if for some reason like suddenly nothing else came out afterwards, I'd still be like, you know what? I still had a really fun time with these like 3 episodes, which is like I feel like I haven't had that experience with any other Star Wars show before or any other TV show in a very long time.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is really weird.
No,
It's
for sure.
Shit the show with a nice mystery.
I'm trying to think. What did I say earlier? Or what did I say like Tuesday night? Tanalor.
Tanalor.
Yeah. A planet surrounded by like a nebula, hidden from the rest of the galaxy
So-
with untold treasures on it.
Tanalor.
Yeah, Untold Treasures, my ass. All right, I finished the game. There was nothing to do on Tanalor.
There was friendship. There was
I get
friendship
to
and
stand
family.
around like a jerk. There's nothing.
It was
to do.
nice. It's a nice place. It's
Everything's
a very
purple.
temperate
So-
climate. Yeah.
We'll talk about Kim in a hot second, but
Yes.
like we'll dive into it. But one thing that she straight up said was she asked the kids about like what explain this barrier, and she says nebular gases, and I thought of Tanalor then.
Yeah.
Of, like that's pretty much like what was covering Tanalor.
Yeah.
And then they could only get into it a very specific way, which included
Cool.
jumping to hyperspace.
Cool
Um,
abyss.
But obviously Adatin doesn't have that because the kids did not jump to hyperspace,
Right.
leaving this barrier, and then they just did afterwards because they were like,
There's
well,
also
here we
nothing
go.
happens to you when you cross the barrier because they
Right.
very easily went. Well, maybe it's one way. Maybe you can't get back in the same way.
Mhm.
Maybe. Or
Could
maybe
be.
the
Or
ship
maybe
had
it's
some
just
sort
all-
of clearances or device to allow it through. We don't know.
Or maybe it's
Well,
all
Maybe the
smoke and
ship was
mirrors.
whitelisted. That's how the
Maybe
storm
maybe the
check kinda was.
supervisor tells you can't cross the barrier, so you don't cross the barrier. But nothing actually
But you
happens when
can.
you cross
I
the
don't
barrier.
really think there's any like ships on this planet. Have you guys noticed that? It goes back to the very beginning of the episode. The droid walked all the way to the building. He didn't even take a bus. He
When
walked.
Wendell drives home, he's on that like little
He's on
car
the little
like, on a
tracks.
track.
On a
Yeah.
track.
So like
The only
You
like
don't-
speeders they have are those bikes, little bikes.
I'll have to like go back and look, but I don't think that there's any for the like flying speeders on Adatin, at least not that I can
Not that I
recall.
They've got the
Um,
hover bikes.
Yeah, that
Just the bikes.
Yeah.
Which the kids use,
no,
not
like-
really anyone else.
So we'll see if that's actually even like a thing on the planet. If there are, they're heavily locked down.
What if all of the cars are on tracks because it's actually a Beetlejuice situation and they're all on like a big table
they're all
in a,
tiny.
in a superior being's like basement?
There you go. You know what?
The camera
It-
pans
That's my
out, the
theory.
whole other show going on.
It's
Guys,
the Lego
the-
movie.
The game
It's
was
Men in
rigged from the
Black.
start. Like it is just Fallout. Like
They're in
come
marbles.
Yeah, the marbles in Men in
The
Black.
marbles.
They're in Men in Black. Yep.
None of us
If that
ever
happened, I
recovered
don't know
from
what I
marbles.
would do.
on. Oh my god.
One thing I loved about the episode in particular, though, is that there were so many like little mini 80s montage moments.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's one of the things that's really kind of like making it feel authentic to all those shows that we grew up with too.
Walking from like the
Little
ship
things
to
like
the observatory, get like with the silhouettes
silhouette.
against like the gas giant in
Yeah.
the background.
Gorgeous. With
Beautiful.
the theremin soundtrack. Ugh.
Let's
Oh
do it.
man, we already touched upon that earlier, but my God, I could talk about
It's
that
such
all day
a
too.
classy, old school, traditional choice for science fiction, and
It's-
it really surprises me that Star Wars hasn't done it until 2024.
Yeah,
Mick was
I can't
cooking.
believe this is the first time.
It
It seems like a
was.
no-brainer, but I'm so happy that it happened.
Like Theremin in sci-fi score recently has not happened until like Loki. That was like the big like return of it. And then like we've gotten it now in this, and it's like, guys. Anyway, so
Shout out to American Horror Story Coven.
Oh, good season. Good season.
Yeah, Theremin was a plot point. But outside of that, yeah, you never see it.
No, it's sad.
I can't. I don't
Bring back
understand the
Theremin.
reference. I didn't watch it, but yes. Kim. Kim.
the
So,
Bill, how is
so
Kim
this owl.
spelled?
KH
like
apostrophe
KHI.
YMM.
Yeah,
Kim.
YMMM.
Oh,
Kim.
great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Love her to pieces already. I love her observatory. I love that she's an owl who is like in a library. Like it's just so like on the nose.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And we get her calling Jod Crimson Jack. So yet another name
First
for this
time.
guy.
Just a million names.
Yeah. It's just
It's
fantastic.
worth making the distinction. This is not confirming that he is in fact Crimson Jack.
No, and I'm
Right.
pretty
It's
sure
simply
Star Wars.
establishing that he uses many aliases because Crimson Jack is
Yeah.
canon and is a very
Yes.
different person.
And I'm pretty sure Star Wars has already confirmed that he just used to pretend to be. Crimson Jack.
They saw
Like,
the
he-
writing on the wall and got ahead of the narrative.
They
on
wanted
that
to
one.
make sure. Yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
let's nip this discourse in the bud before it even starts. He's not
Mm.
Crimson Jack. He wears pants. His hair's not red.
Which is like so funny as well because like who cares? The fact that they had to like make this distinction like up front is just like so funny because
Yeah.
if people weren't like posting about it afterwards saying, "Oh, Crimson Jack is this guy in the comics," I would not have known.
Yeah.
I would not have known. I'll be straight up honest.
People
And
lost their minds about Kiadi-Mundi's birthday, and you dare to ask
yeah.
who cares? You
Yeah,
really
there's-
want to open that can of worms?
This is true.
They're
That's
out
true.
there and
It's
they
true.
care, and we don't necessarily need to hear them. Their opinion.
Star Wars fans are nuts, as we know.
Someone
Glup
out there
Shitto the
cares
show.
Too much.
Glup
Too
Shitto the
much.
show.
Crimson Jack is a glup shitto if I've ever seen one. From the Marvel comics in the 80s, they're not even canon to Legends. I mean, they're like doubly like they're just out there. I mean, my God, we're getting a comic series with Atha Prime.
The show's gonna end with Crimson Jack showing up and just punching Jod in the face, like, "You stole my name."
That's for yesterday, SquarePants.
Crimson Jack is just
Yeah.
from Masters of the Universe anyway. It's literally the same design.
Yeah.
oh gosh. So Kim.
Yeah, basically.
Kim
we've-
calls. Go ahead.
Kim
Go ahead.
calls.
I was gonna say we basically the episode, the show has not spent any time. We were told right off the bat, yes, Jod is Silvo, and everybody kind of guessed that from the first two episodes. But
Yeah.
He didn't
it's
hide it.
very plainly stated in this episode, and I really like that because now, I mean, that is Long John Silver. When I watched Treasure Planet last year for the first time in like 20 years, they reveal Long John Silver is planning to betray the main character whose name I'm forgetting. But they tell us that within like the first 20 minutes. We know he's a scoundrel from the beginning. There's
That's
no
the
illusion.
traditional format for the story. Same with Muppet Treasure Island. You know, we
Exactly.
know that it's Tim Curry like right out of the gate.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not wasting time on the mystery because we already knew that he is Long John Silver. We didn't have to worry about that.
And it's great because it puts us in a delicious position to enjoy watching these kids not know.
Yes,
And
exactly.
they get to stumble around in the dark, and we're like, hey, we know what's going on here.
Exactly.
That's always a fun place to be, the position of information as the audience. I
I
enjoy
would
being in the
love-
dark, but like sometimes it's nice to know more than the characters you're watching.
Yeah.
You know what? It's. Go ahead.
Oh, so I'd love if they like keep having an alias for Jod each episode.
Every
now.
episode,
Yes.
a new episode. That would be great.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
let the next one be Galandro from the Han Solo trilogy. That's my fan cast
Yeah.
for Galandro was Antonio Banderas. I hope he shows up someday.
That's great.
Ooh.
Another thing with the kids is like they don't even know that he was a pirate up until that time, like as well, because
Yeah,
like
true.
they don't know about Captain Silvo. They only know Jod and now Crimson Jack, so they don't know about the whole Captain Silvo and the mutiny situation. The kids don't know
Yeah.
about that.
Right.
I
no,
think that's
not at all.
important to remember.
So even
Speaking
if
of,
they
like,
were like,
things that,
this
like-
guy's Captain Silvo, they'd be like, oh,
They'd be like,
okay.
Okay.
Who is that? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
As usual, I was in my own little la la land there, but thinking about what we were just talking about. But what Jamie said, if they had to make a statement about how he's not Crimson Jack, imagine if like when Ezra said he was Jabba the Hutt, they had to come up and be like, "Oh, by the way, he's not Jabba the Hutt." Sorry.
running off of the statement that Jeremy Allen White is going to be Rada.
Hey, big news.
So, like,
It's a great
That-
father-son dynamic right there.
Huge
we got
news.
Iman
Rada opened up
Esfandi
a-
and
You know,
Jeremy
that's the
Allen
kind
White.
of ultra specific news that I would tell one person in the production if I was trying to figure out where the leak was.
Yeah, right.
You know
That
what I
was the
mean?
thing. That's
It turns out it's real, but it's that level of like specific and bizarre.
who
It
the
is.
hell would have ever
Yeah,
thought
Who's
that?
leaking? I'm going to tell him about Rod of the Hut and see if I hear it in the trades later. Like,
Somebody
Wild
really
news.
staked their job on that one, and it paid off.
Reel it back in. Reel it back in.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
Had to do it.
So sorry, I had to drop that in there because that really threw me this week. So Kim's observatory, and you mentioned how it was very dark crystal earlier, which was like a super cool. Just like this, I saw someone post like picture comparisons, and that's just like that was like a very cool visual to see that. So do we think that like the data that she has actually found in a data card does pop out a punch card?
A punch
Hilariously.
card. I love that.
Love that. Do we think that that information is actually going to be at Atten?
Probably not. Now that I think of it, I didn't
I don't know.
really think of it till now.
Maybe.
Like, why would she get the
I don't
actual
think it'll be
things
that
for him?
simple. I think it'll lead them to the next clue.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true. Or what AJ just said. Why would she lead them to Atten? She might lead them somewhere else. That is
Maybe
a
she's
trap.
just a consummate professional. Can't help but do her job correctly. Like
Yeah,
you
maybe.
noticed while she was
Ooh.
stalling, she was like, "Oh, cool, I found it." I mean, there's more parameters. Like she had to
That's
slow
true.
herself down,
Right.
Yeah.
because she was doing too good of a job. So I believe
She
was
she's
really
doing
into
the
it.
correct work.
Yeah,
This is
So-
her passion. Stellar cartography is my passion.
astrography. What is it? Astrogation.
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 Astro
So, like-
navigation.
Astography.
Astro.
Astrography.
Someone's like, "So what do you do?" I'm an astographer.
End the show. End the show. We're done. We're done.
My
That's it.
father was an
That's it, guys.
astographer, and his father
End
before
it.
him.
Done.
No, but a question I had for you guys kind of goes off of this. We're only at episode 3, so next week we'll be at halfway, right? 8 episodes. When do we think they get back to Atten and find this potential treasure or mystery or whatever?
You know, I was actually convinced the parents were going to leave the planet and to go out and find them too, and then follow like a trail of breadcrumbs. But I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. That might
Yeah.
not be the case.
how would
I
they
don't
get
even
off
think
the
they've
planet?
left any breadcrumbs.
Well,
Like,
that's true.
You know, the supervisor has a spaceship
True.
Well, that's also true.
Okay.
ready to go in case he needs to leave or they need to leave the planet. We don't know who
Yeah.
they are.
Hmm.
I guess
don't know.
a salient question would be: have we met the supervisor already, and it's going to be a revealed identity kind of thing?
Oh,
Someone steps out. I'm trying to think of anyone else on the planet we've even met besides the parents. It's all
Nice.
droids.
It's just been droids and the parents. And it's definitely not the undersecretary.
And Kylo Ren.
What if it's Runa's mom,
Oh,
the cute alien from class? What if her mom is actually the supervisor, or it's Runa herself?
that's it.
Mm.
it's been her this entire time.
Neil's
she's
vying for
surveilling
royalty.
from the class.
Neil has no idea.
I do
Yeah.
hope that Neil gets his courage, and like in the last episode, he like asks her on a date. And, like,
Oh, for sure.
you know, puts to
Okay,
use the
well,
skills he's
somehow.
developed as an adventurer. Like that'd be fun to see.
I feel like Fern's mom is very sus. Like
Well,
I'm not
she's
saying
the
she's the supervisor, of
undersecretary.
course. Yeah, but she just feels like she knows more. Which
Of course, she
probably
knows.
does.
She's the undersecretary.
She's
If she's not the
interesting because
oversecretary.
She also
That's
kind of
true.
seemed the most blindsided by the
Mm.
information they got.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I
And if
think
she's
it's
in the know,
because
you'd think that she would know the most and like be
So, like-
the least reactive.
True.
this is the breakdown, right? So like Wim's dad Wendell literally sees the ship take off, sees the kids, and is like, "Man, I know at least Neil, and I don't know who those 2 girls were, but we can figure it out." And then they figure it out who the 2 girls were. So he reports this to the droids. The droids notify the other parents. They gather all the parents together, right? And so then Wendell like tells the story to the other parents. They all freak out, and like Fern's mom is literally just like, "This wouldn't happen. My daughter doesn't do this, and even if she did, like this wouldn't." She just doesn't believe that it happened because I mean, her
Yeah.
only reaction was, "Oh, we used to like goof off all the time, and the droids would always find me." So like, I don't know. She's
I think Fern is really good at masking in front of her mom.
Yeah.
And,
Oh,
and one
for
of
sure.
the little subtle tells they've given us of that is that she wears her jacket with all the pins and flare on it. And in the scene when she comes home, she's turned the jacket inside out and she's covering
Yeah.
Right.
all that up.
Absolutely.
Right.
So like I think she keeps things from her mom very effectively, and so her mom assumes that Fern is a much more well-behaved kid than she really is.
and she
think-
like has access to wipe the droid's memory at any point in time, the nanny droid. That seems like a humongous oversight.
Oh,
You're
that's
letting
come
kids
on.
just wipe
That's
their
such a,
memory.
like the kid figures out how
Oh,
to get
yeah.
around the parental controls on the internet
Yeah.
blocker.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a rite
Absolutely.
of passage in this day and age. We've all been there.
Something that I love with Fern and Kim is so Fern always wears her jacket inside out with the side that she likes facing out. But you just mentioned all the patches and everything, and the last patch that she received was from her mom, in which was like the head student patch or whatever, like on her backpack.
Mm.
And so like she's still like, even though she's wearing her jacket inside out, she's also probably wearing this one patch from mom because like she misses her and she's having like a time like on her own. She does not want to be out and lost.
I think that
Which is
speaks
just
to the
funny.
code switching she's doing. You know, she'll wear this patch for mom to represent this side of her identity, and then she represents the other aspect of herself
Mhm.
socially
Yeah.
to her friends.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I like that.
I loved Kim dissecting the patch as well and like breaking out like all of like the logo pieces because that's
no.
something.
Pelusian
script, is that what she said?
Yeah,
They name
uh,
dropped the
yeah,
language
yeah.
system I
She
had
said-
never heard of before.
No,
she
yeah.
used the term proto republic at one point too, I think, which is just like
Old Republic.
I really like the
There you
little
go, Matt.
the visual breakdown of showing us that the patch is in fact 4 symbols that are overlaid over each
Yeah.
other. Like that's
That's
very
information
cool.
we didn't have. Like it's cool stuff to see.
yeah.
It is for sure. Oh, she. Yeah.
No, Kim was great.
So-
The way she was so animalistic too in her portrayal, like she couldn't
Yeah.
it was involuntary, almost just like "Wah!"
Yeah, the owl
So-
noises.
We were laughing our butts off when she's just like, I call those X-Wing to help. Run for it, and then just like scatters, like just like
Save yourselves.
It's
The
so
X-wings were
perfect.
fantastic. Did you notice that
Yeah.
they were in
Yeah.
the blue livery that was originally going to be in A New Hope? Then they changed it because ILM was shooting against blue plates, and so they had to make it red instead. But this
Oh.
blue is what they were originally supposed to look like.
Yeah. And they're also sort of kind of the blue that one of Poe's X-Wings was.
The T-70. Yep.
The T-set, which this is just a nitpick, but Jesus Christ, can you give us some friggin' T-70s? The T-70s were already starting to be obsolete during this time period. Like they're
Yeah.
super obsolete in the sequels. Where are my T-70s? The New Republic
They
should have
didn't do a
T-70s.
great job of establishing them as obsolete because we don't see anything better than the T-70 during the
I
sequel
know.
trilogy.
I know we don't see
They
any
needed to show us what the
T-85s.
New Republic was rocking so that we could feel like it was janky.
Exactly.
in,
Yeah, you're
Resistance,
We
absolutely
get this
right.
right?
impression that technology's advanced maybe one generation in 30 years.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the impression that we get.
uh,
But and
absolutely.
also, but no, I completely agree. Like, show us some damn T-70s already.
Where the hell are the
They
T-70s?
were different. I don't think they're quite T-65s, or at least the loadout is different because they had plasma on the top wings and they had ion on the bottom wings.
Oh,
No, that's fancy.
Because if you notice, they were hitting the Onyx Cinder with ion and trying to disable it. That's when Neil does his
You're right.
incredible scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh,
they're
speaking
firing
of
red
Neil
on top
noises.
and blue underneath, and we've never seen an X-wing do that before. So that
You're
was
right.
that was unique.
Right. So we'll get back to the X-wing chase, but Neil noises, Matt.
Neil snores and he makes a little toot. He makes a
Yeah.
little elephant toot when he snores, and
Yeah, he
that's
does.
just friggin' amazing.
Perfect. Such a good little ad, like just overall.
This is a good way to put the show.
But
Absolutely.
we get the great escape of almost great escape of Jod destroys half the observatory, runs the hell out of there, and at that moment, KB like chats with Kim and is just like, "Are you okay?" Just like checking because she's a good person, and
That was a
Kim's
good
just
moment.
like, "Well, guess what?
Mhm.
He's probably lying to you. So use your head, find the truth, and give me a call."
Yeah, give me a call. Oh, okay.
Um,
How is she gonna call?
The
She'll
visor.
figure it out.
Yeah.
She'll figure it
So,
out. Literally.
flying
And
in.
Kim's just like, "I need to do something."
Oh,
It was a big KB episode.
I know
he-
KB got
that's the
fleshed
second-
out big time.
That was
He was
nice.
the second person in a row to take KB aside and be like, "Hey, if you need anything, call me." Okay.
Yeah, I
Because
love
what's
it.
her name? Thielen at the spaceport in the second episode did the same thing. to
I
her.
know.
True, yeah.
And I thought she was going to be a character.
I think
She's
she
gone.
is a character. I think that
Who's, I hope she pops
she'll
up
come
again.
I think
she'll
she's
come back
working
up.
for somebody. She's a spy of some kind.
Yeah.
All right. I hope so.
That's
I
what
like that.
So right before they can do their great escape, all the kids demand Jod tells the truth, or at least some semblance of the truth of who is he. And I love his eventual admission that he is just lost and he's just kind of a guy. Which like I feel like that is the truth as well. But like he
Oh,
like
yeah.
puts on all of this other stuff like
From a
as well.
certain point of view.
but
exactly.
but I really do feel like that of he is lost and alone. which is what he like screams at them. And I love how they come up with their little deal of you're going to work for us and we're going to make it happen. And then they actually have like the team up moment in the ship of he's working for them, but he also is the only one who knows how to like actually do some evasive maneuvers.
Yeah, because
So-
Neil, not a good pilot, buddy. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, pal.
But
He tried.
Jod is like, obviously good at like figuring out like what each of them can do easily. Like he knows that like Wim and Fern have like good reflexes and are able to like probably operate a turret. He knows that KB can plug into the system and like deal with that.
And
Neil
then takes advantage of all of it.
can't
Yes.
do much.
Neil can't do much.
Seeing these children like fire upon X-wings, it's like, oh my god, children, you don't know what you're doing. Like,
Children, kill these people for me. Thank
Hey,
you.
you're legit. Well, like
None
Wim
of their
had,
shots, like,
handing John
land.
the blaster. Like, here's your gun, stranger. Like, go do your thing. Like,
do some
Well,
crimes.
one of their shots lands. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was Wim's or Fern's. They both claim
They both
it was
take credit.
theirs, but one of their shots lands.
I'm gonna say it
That's
was
true.
Burns.
That
I'd
sequence,
say
yeah,
Fern.
I think Fern also.
Also, did
That-
you notice the very first thing Wim does when he gets up into the turret is just hold the trigger down and spin all the
Yeah.
way?
Yeah, right, dude.
That-
Which is literally me every time I
Yeah,
play
That's
Battlefront
so
2.
relatable. Like, that's definitely me. Definitely me.
This is so perfect.
that sequence was so euphoric. Like
Yes,
it was
Ben
was
immediately got locked
you-
on, and he was just like, "Wee!"
Yep.
this whole show. Someone tweeted this out. I wish I could give them credit, but I totally agree with. You really see yourself in all four of the kids,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
Matt was saying, like I could see myself now or as a kid getting in the turret of a. We all pretended we were in a turret or piloting a ship. Growing up as Star Wars, thinking about Star Wars, but like this was that moment, like in the shot of Wim's face. It's like a little wide shot of him in the turret.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. It almost looks like it's like a commercial for like Batu or something. Like it feels like that, and it was very well executed.
While we were just like chatting now, it kind of seemed like they had the full crew for Smuggler's Run, but they had the really shitty pilot,
Yeah,
you had
they
the
did.
two gunners, and you had
They
the
got the
person who
full
was the engineer.
experience.
So like,
Yeah,
Full
It's so true.
experience.
Man, they need to add a skeleton crew ride to Galaxy's Edge.
Did you
because,
guys-
Oh man,
did you see the Sartor's ship at Port Borgo?
yes,
Yeah.
little
Like,
little
it's-
white and
oh,
orange.
yeah.
It's in the
Right.
bottom left-hand corner when they're trying to escape. So if you're trying to locate it, that's where it is. I caught it on my second watch through because everyone was like, "Oh, there it is."
You know,
What do you do?
expanding on what AJ just said too about being able to identify differently with each of the four kids. Like I think I'm a couple years older than all of you guys, but I finally reached the age where I'll rewatch a movie I saw as like a 12-year-old that stars a 12-year-old, and like you identify with the kid, and you think the parents are being so unreasonable because they won't let him go out to some like crazy party until it's super
Yeah.
late, and then you rewatch it, and you're closer to the age of the parents.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
fully
absolutely.
identify with the parents. Like, what the hell? This kid's being totally unreasonable. You should just
Yeah.
go to bed. And like, it's funny how your perspective so changes. And
Oh,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm feeling that with this show. Like, I still identify with the kids, but I find myself identifying with like the parents, and weirdly, like the pirates at moments.
Well,
too.
please. I mean, these kids show up to your port, they break your captain out who just screwed you over.
I
and then
worked
they
in a
destroy
bar
all
for
your
10
ships.
years, and if some little shit flipped his ramen over and caused a fire in front of me, like Fry Cook's beating his ass, and I'm not. Gonna like there's moments where you identify with different pockets that you didn't think that you would, but like, yeah, something that I found being an older.
That's one thing
audience
about
member
this
now.
show.
No, it's well put.
This
It
show
is.
so far is you find yourself identifying with the kids in almost every other character as well so far, and I think that just speaks volumes that like this one show has actually given that to us so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was this
an
show when I was
impressive
12?
Like line to walk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's funny that you say like where was the show when you were 12. It's funny to say that because I always talk about how the releases of shows are like make or break for me for like the timing of it, and it really does like impact my consumption of them. The timing of this show when it came out was just like personally perfect. Like I absolutely
You needed
needed
this.
this show in order to like continue like loving Star Wars as much as I do. I'm not even kidding. Like I will always like love it, but like this show has come at like a time in my life where I'm just like, you know what? I really needed this in order to like continue
said.
like loving the
Absolutely
future
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
Completely
Just,
agree.
It's
it gives us
yeah.
magic. You know, it just gives us that like classic
It is
Star Wars
magic.
magic
yeah.
that I think this summer just kind of dampened a little bit. But it's back.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm enjoying
It's-
the hell out of it.
It's been an absolute roller coaster. There have been some serious highs and some real lows, I think.
Yeah. No
More
kidding.
so than previous years. Like every year has ups and downs, but like this year has just felt like really polarized, a lot of extremes, you know.
Yeah. And I think the
I
best
just hope
thing
that we all have a good time with like Vision Season 2 and Andor and Celebration Japan, and we just have a nice chill 2025 for Star
I'm looking
Wars.
forward to it.
Mandalorian and
This-
Grogu, you know, hopefully it's a nice time. Hopefully it's overall positive. There are definitely
honestly,
positives to take away from this year, the Star Wars fan too, for sure.
I mean, Mandalorian and Grogu, not to go into that whole thing, but like I feel like that might have the vibes of this. Like, this is the vibe I want maybe in like that kind of adventure. This is just an adventure, a hell of an adventure. And as Jamie was saying,
Be a nice palate cleanser before Heir to the Jedi or Heir to the Empire.
Yes.
You know, love it or hate it, it's going to be contentious. Like, and we already know.
Yeah.
That one might feel a bit more like work.
Yeah.
Versus something as lighthearted and fun as like something as rompy as Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, this is just no stakes fun.
Exactly.
I was talking with someone today that hasn't liked recent Star Wars things at all. He's a bit of a negative person. I wouldn't say toxic quite, but so I wanted to be like, oh, hey, have you watched Skeleton Crew? But I couldn't do it. Like, but I would have been like, this show's been so much fun that I feel like next time I see them, I might. But
you should. I mean,
I should. I don't know. I don't want to know where it goes though. But if it can go in a positive place, like I think everyone is really loving this show, and I don't know.
It's going to be a long time before I'm willing to discuss Star Wars in real life with like a stranger or a casual acquaintance again. I think. It's going to take some time for me to feel like I'm willing to do that.
It's tough. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
But
if I'm at a Star Wars con, then like green light.
Oh hell yeah,
well, that's different.
But I mean, like
totally
if I'm at the bar and a stranger brings up Star Wars, I'm probably not going to join that conversation.
Yeah,
try being a Star Wars fan in 2024.
Yeah, I know, right? You gotta take a litmus test before you open your mouth.
You think your life's hard? Come on.
All right, my last word on the episode is Jod referring to the X-wing pilots as goons, and then Neil also just calling them goons. Goons.
It's the goons.
It's the goons.
Also, thank the lucky stars that it wasn't Carson Tavo or
Dude, I thought it was going to be Carson
absolute nobodies. I love that they were
beautiful nobodies.
Glup shittos.
Glup shitto human pilot. Love them.
This is relatable, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, legit. You know the pain all too well.
Oh yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on the episode this week, guys? Before we move on to picking our characters and Glup shitto of the week.
I will talk about my favorite thing about this episode when I pick my character.
Okay. Let's move to episode MVP.
Yes,
and
episode MVP.
I think Kyle started the trend during Acolyte for us of also picking the Glup shitto. So we'll go with real MVPs that we record and then Glup shittos for fun. So who wants to kick off MVPs? Kyle, you want to go?
You know, for MVP, I'm very tempted to go with Kim the Owl, but I don't think I will. I think I will go with Alfred Molina as the Ishi Tib.
Okay.
Just such a colorful, nuanced performance. With such little screen time, he was able to like give you so much of who he was, what his backstory was, what his relationship was. Really, really well done. And under like a mile of prosthetics, too. Like he's still
He just did the voice. That was confirmed out later. Someone else was in the suit, but still.
I don't know the name of the person in the suit, but that's the person that I'm talking about when I say the performance was evocative, even though they're under miles of prosthetics.
They both did a fantastic job.
Great job.
So that's your MVP, not your Glup shitto.
That would be my MVP. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to see your Glup shitto is then.
Yeah.
Matt, who's your MVP?
For this episode, it was 100% Jod, and it was literally because of this face. This was my favorite part of the episode, and I've been holding off until just now to talk about. It's so good. Can I tell you? On Monday, I watched The Holiday. My mom wanted to watch a new Christmas movie, so we all sat down. We watched The Holiday from 2005 with Jude Law, where he plays like this suave Casanova character, and then just like transitioning the next day to like short-haired, crazy-eyed Jude Law, who's trying to like smooth talk his way into like these kids' ship, and they're all just like challenging him, especially Fern, and he's just looking at her like, She's like, "You're not a Jedi." He's like, "Yes, I am." Like, dude, it's so good. Like Jude Law is killing it, and
he's always great. Yeah,
is just perfect. Just
Yes,
looking at him like, you fucking shit. Like it's just so
Is that the
Good.
new reaction video picture from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this
Okay.
is. I mean, I've been thinking about this face nonstop for the past 2 days, and it might be the thing I think about when I think about this show from now on.
Okay.
Is that face? It was
I like
just
that.
that good.
So I was gonna go with SM33 because two of my favorite scenes in this episode were from SM33. I feel like SM33 is gonna win MVP of the whole season by the end, so I don't want to load that deck too much. I think he already has a big head start.
Fair.
I'm going to go with Kim, KB, not Kim. I think KB had a very nice episode. I liked her little dynamic, if you want to call it that, with Jod. And yeah, I think she's the most unique of the kids, which is nice.
Yeah. I absolutely love KB. She was my pick last week, and I would pick her again this week. And I know you just said you don't want to lead to make SM33 heavy, but I'm gonna pick SM33.
I knew this was coming.
He was
didn't wanna
like
double
barely in this week's episode, but I'm not even kidding when I say they might be from somewhere. Back away, come back. That might be my favorite joke of anything in like of all time. Like
It's classic pirate.
It's classic pirate. Nick Frost has absolutely been killing it with the
Yes.
voice.
Yeah,
and I just-
forever.
he's
He's
been
so
doing great.
good.
It has to be SM33.
I know. I was almost a little disappointed. Like I loved the joke when they were doing the sitcom ad, where it was and SM33 as himself, and they had like the puppet. But I was
Yeah.
almost like remiss. I felt bad because I was like, oh, I wanted to see Nick Frost, like see him like interact with the puppet or something. But I thought it was still pretty funny.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
God.
That's my pick of the week. There you go. So we now do Glup Shido of the week. And we'll go first again with Kyle.
I mean, I'll try not to be insulted that you even have to ask. Obviously, I'm going to go with the Gonk droid that was in the droid room.
Yeah.
A unique Gonk droid with a ship style like round porthole interface.
Yeah, right.
in front
What
of
was
it.
Yeah.
that all about?
It was
that was
unique.
cool
I
as
liked it a
hell.
lot.
The Pirate Gonk. There you go.
Yeah.
So that's the one you want in the trunk of your car, also, right?
Exactly.
That's the one. Full
Yeah.
circle.
As long as it's got like a 3.5, so I can plug my
Yeah,
stereo into it.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, who's your?
I honestly cannot think.
I'll jump in.
I really liked the droid. Oh, what was the name of the droid that Jod first woke up?
The CZ protocol droid.
CZ protocol droid.
I do like that.
Yeah, like the
one.
funny like
I
clown
loved it.
face one.
The one who was trying to save the prince.
The one
So
that's
that
in
was
the
the
same
second
position
one.
against the wall as 3PO when he's getting dragged out of Jabba's. He's like, "R2, save me!" And he looks behind him, and there's
Yeah.
one of those in the same position, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
The
Well,
clown
the first
droid, right?
one, the
Wait.
first one was the prince one. The second one was the battle droid, and then he finds SM33.
No, there's
no,
three.
he opens a CZ droid, then he opens a B1, then he opens up the one that starts blathering about the prince, then he finds.
Oh,
SM33.
okay. So, but I
Yeah.
still liked the first one where he like woke him up and he was like, "Hello," and then he turned him right back off.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that one.
That
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
I'll go with that one.
Who was the
Hello,
prince? I
I'm-
wonder.
Who knows?
I
I'm sure that's a
know.
deep cut. Sure, it's like that droid is a visual, like someone's gonna see him in a comic panel. And like that's
And
what,
there's so many deep cuts where it's like, is it a pirate movie deep cut? Is it a Star Wars Legends deep cut? Is it like
Right.
something
All of
else?
the above.
Is it
you know,
I'd be
another movie deep
referencing
cut?
goddamn Errol Flynn for all we know.
I know.
They're freaking
Seriously.
pulling from Captain EO, dude. It's anybody's game. They could go
Oh,
anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, why don't you go for? I want to see who you choose here. So I don't want to.
Well,
I don't want to
I'm
steal
on the
yours.
fence. I'm on the fence between the droid that's screaming, the prince, I have to save the prince.
Yeah.
Because I loved that guy. But I think that my secondary Glup Shido, which isn't really a Glup Shido, it's Neil's reaction when he's holding the blaster. Of just the looking at it. Oh, all right. that exact moment of him just like putting it down.
Glup moment.
Glup moment.
What an evolution this
most of
term has
mine
gone
are.
through. It used to be relatively obscure characters making a comeback. Now it can refer to a facial expression.
Like
Yes.
it is.
Jamie
what
is
we
taking
do.
it to the extreme. She's
I've always
chosen
done that though.
articles
I've
of
always-
clothing.
Like let's look back at my picks for like the Bad Batch. I literally picked like Hunter's like new headband as it ties in the back at
Yeah.
one point in time. Not the headband itself, the way that he ties the new headband in the back of his head in season 3. So, anyways, this week's Glup moment was Neil looking at the blaster and like.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to think.
I would posit that in order to be just to cite the source text, like the original tweet of Glup Shido, I think we need to see something twice for it to
You
be a
think?
Glup Shido, because Glup Shido has to be back.
That's true.
It's not enough
'Cause
to
it's like,
simply exist.
ooh,
It needs to
Okay.
return
Bringing
in
him
a
back.
subsequent thing to
you
be a
believe
Glup Shido,
is
because now
gonna
it's
be in
back.
the new thing.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna see that look from
You
Neil
want a new?
again.
All
So
right, you
if
want a new
Hunter
Glup
ties his
Shido?
headband that way another time. Now it's
I mean, the entire
'cause it's back.
season.
You know what
The
I mean?
entire season. But you want a Glup Shido for this episode? It's
Ooh,
the
here we
Star
go.
Give
Tour
me what you got.
shuttle.
The Star
There you
Tour
go.
shuttle.
Star
It's
Tour
gonna
shuttle.
pop up
Perfect.
again.
There we go.
That's
Probably
the
the
Glup
best
Shido.
answer of any of us tonight, I think.
Honestly, you're right.
That is-
Actually, that's the
a pretty
perfect answer for that.
royal Glup Shido.
The Star Tours shuttle.
Can my Glup Shido be the supervisor, who we haven't even seen yet?
Yes.
Sure.
Um,
Why not?
Or have we?
Ooh,
We have. I really
It's
don't
Neil.
think we have.
and it's that
It's Neil.
Gonk droid.
It's Neil's
It's-
dad.
it's-
The only person who hasn't had, the only adult who hasn't
Where
had
is he?
one. That's
Where
where
was
he
he?
was.
Yeah.
I'm between the droid that walks 35 miles to the house and the B1 battle droid.
I know. I'm
Uh,
surprised nobody picked the B1.
I'll pick the
I mean,
B1.
it was,
I know
it
everyone
was
in
pretty
the,
funny. Bringing
everyone
back
that-
Matthew Wood for a line is always
yeah.
fun.
Did we
You know.
win?
everyone loves a good
The
battle
head
droid.
just falling off.
immediate, just decrepitude.
Yep.
Or the crutch that was the B2 battle droid,
They're
which
just
I have yet to
reusing
see, and I need to go look at it.
That was
don't
a
know.
pretty great little detail.
Okay.
Well,
But yeah, hell of an
yeah.
episode. I mean, they keep getting better. I guess. I mean, I think of it as one whole run so far, and it's just,
I feel like they've been consistently at a high caliber.
yeah, and it's building up. I mean, as a good story does, it's building upon itself. And each time a nice little cliffhanger, but not like too crazy of a cliffhanger.
The upcoming episode was directed by the Daniels and is the most Neil-centric, according to the buzz.
Oh, baby!
I like the
Super,
Daniels.
super.
Emerson
Neil
boys.
Nation's in for a good time next
Did
week.
we talk about Neil falling down the hill?
No, we didn't. We didn't talk about the Neil flop. We didn't talk about Neil flop 2024.
He does his
Neil
own
flop.
stunts.
He does.
Ugh.
would have been another one.
Yeah, is that a glitch?
Also, I noticed like bulk of the trailer shots came from this episode.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
Same with the
Especially
bulk
like
of
the
the early
planet one.
publicity stills. Like our very first look at Jod was
Yep.
when he was standing at the door
With
to
the-
Kim's observatory. And the
robots.
other one was when he was hiding, sneaking back for SM-33. Both of those shots were like our very first looks at his character.
Good point.
They both came from this episode. So I don't really know what else to expect. I can think of like maybe 2 publicity stills or behind the scenes photos that clearly are things we haven't seen yet.
Like the treasure-looking room.
The treasure looking
Yep.
room. We've got the big boar gullet looking squid thing, which is actually kind of cute. And when you like turn up the exposure and you can actually see him, he's kind of a cute little monster.
Hey,
And there's like a little train thing or something, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
ship or train. Yeah.
There's
I
like a
don't know.
track there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely more on Adatin that we're gonna be seeing because I know there's a few, not quite publicity, but they showed behind the scenes of some of the kids and stuff that we haven't seen yet back on Adatin.
Alongside the
And-
parents, right?
Yeah,
I saw the
Yeah.
picture you saw. It was a very Wizard of Oz looking picture too. Like
Right.
there would be like the supervisors being revealed to them.
Oh
in
yeah,
that moment.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl,
Like,
100%
great.
man behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz type.
it's gonna be
stuff.
Hondo Onaka, isn't it?
It's gonna be
No.
Snoke.
His latest venture.
oh my god.
I honestly, there's a non-zero chance that happens. I'm not
true.
gonna say it's high, but it's a non-zero.
Oh, he'd be perfect for that too.
Imagine
That would
that.
be
Literally
so
like Wizard
good.
of Oz.
Or better yet, it's Melch.
There it
this
is.
entire time. Wow.
Shut up in a hot air balloon.
Hondo wasn't paying him enough, so he went off and found out Atten, and now he's doing pretty well for
I'm
himself.
in a
Nobody can
balloon.
understand him.
Yeah, he
He
skates in
must
a
be
hot
a
air balloon.
wizard.
Now I need to
Um,
see an Ugnaught in a hot air balloon before the series is over.
Oh, 100%.
Yes,
Wow.
please.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait to see more about Adatin and just like the Fallout vibes and whatnot. The head in a frozen head in a jar is something.
Head in a frozen jar.
which I wouldn't rule out.
A
And
jar
I
of
was just
frozen head.
checking social media really quickly, and I just want to also toss in that Fallout won Best Game adaptation at the Game Awards, and so good job,
Mhm.
Fallout show. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is we're gonna be back next week with more talk about Skeleton Crew, and we are talking the show to the absolute death. Clearly, because I did not realize we've been on as long as
Holy
we've
crap.
been on.
Holy moly.
Wow. So thank you to everyone who's like stuck around in the chat
Yeah,
this evening, because
including Kyle. Thanks for
It's been a
sticking
while.
around.
Thanks,
thank
Kyle.
you. We like to yap.
Ugh.
But yeah, thank you for joining us again tonight, Kyle, and we hope to chat with you again soon. I think wrong side. This side. Where's the chat? I don't know where the chat is.
I'm
Thank
up
you to
here.
everyone
Oh,
who has
Chad's over
joined
there.
us. Thank you to everyone who has joined us in the chat tonight. And if you've been just watching this later, thank you so much for chilling and hanging out with us. And we'll be back next week with more about Skeleton Crew. We'll catch you next time on the Holonet.